A voice cries out about losing everything. His everything, it turns out, is a gaming PC. Our hero is trapped in a feverish nightmare. His eyes snap open, glowing with rage. He screams the name of his stolen treasure. He wakes up dazed and confused. The dream fades, leaving only questions. He blames his weird dreams on a gaming addiction. But then his glasses begin to spark. A sudden jolt of energy surges through him. He feels a strange tingling all over his body. A golden current now flows from his hands. His mother enters, calling him Jae-ik. She asks a very specific, unsettling question. She follows up with the world's most awkward puberty talk. Jae-ik, mortified, tries to shut her down. She leaves for work, but her gaze lingers. He finds his father in the kitchen, wearing an apron. Jae-ik greets him with a friendly pat. His father recoils in absolute terror. Our boy is completely baffled by this reaction. The dad quickly plays it off as a joke. But Jae-ik knows something is very wrong. He gets ready for school, trying to forget the weirdness. He puts on his uniform, ready to leave. He rushes out, skipping the family breakfast. His mom reminds him of his birthday party tonight. The moment the door closes, their faces go blank. They whisper that their son still has no idea, and the breakfast his father made was never meant to be eaten. Jae-ik walks to school, pondering his parents' strange behavior. He concludes it's just passive-aggressive nagging about his studies. Fired up, he vows to quit gaming and become a model student. A glance at his watch reveals he's running very late. To save time, he decides to take a shortcut through the alleys. As he sprints, he feels an unusual burst of speed. He wonders if his feet are actually lighter than before. Up ahead, two imposing figures block the narrow path. One of them gets a smack for making a crude public announcement. Jae-ik skids to a halt, interrupting their charming conversation. The man boasts that no one around has the guts to mess with him. As Jae-ik rushes past, he accidentally brushes the man's arm. The slight contact sends the thug flying backward with impossible force. He slams into the brick wall, leaving a massive crater. The man is left dazed, wondering what just hit him. He looks at his hand, shocked to find it covered in blood. His friend calls out to a bewildered Jae-ik. The remaining thug corners our boy, demanding an apology. He grabs Jae-ik, accusing him of a full-on shoulder check. The injured man protests, but his friend sees a chance for a shakedown. He demands Jae-ik pay for his friend's hospital bills. Suddenly, a brilliant pillar of light descends from the heavens. A winged angelic being materializes in the sky above. Her golden eyes lock onto the scene, having found her target. Down below, Jae-ik nervously offers up his lunch money. The thug snatches the cash, demanding a much larger sum. He threatens to go after Jae-ik's parents for the money. Even the injured man tells him to stop, but the bully won't listen. As Jae-ik tries to leave, the thug aims a vicious kick. But a strange energy surges through the thug's eye, stopping him cold. The thug howls in pain, wondering if he just kicked solid rock. Before he can react, Jae-ik is caught by the winged woman. He looks up, completely lost in the sudden chaos. The angelic being smiles, having finally found her charge. She holds him protectively as ethereal feathers drift through the air. The thugs can only stare, debating her angelic fashion choices. But she cheerfully introduces herself as his personal guardian angel. The bully cracks his neck, unimpressed by the divine intervention. Her smile vanishes, replaced by a cold, judging stare. She declares that she's here to make the wicked pay for their deeds. In a blur of motion, she launches herself toward them. She is here to deliver a dose of heavenly justice. She appears between the two thugs in the blink of an eye. She asks for forgiveness for their sins, but only after she's done. A redemption kick sends the first bully flying. She moves with blinding speed, a blur of white and gold. The second thug receives a rehabilitating punch for his troubles. He's left bleeding, wondering what he did to deserve this. The angel lists his first crime, revealing nature's secrets. As he protests, she clenches her fist, adding another charge. His final sentence is an uppercut for the crime of public loudness. She sends him into the sky, proclaiming the power of a good thrashing. Dusting off her hands, she declares her work complete. The two thugs lie defeated, contemplating their life choices. The angel turns to Jae-ik with a triumphant grin. She solemnly identifies him as the ultimate Abraxas, then cheerfully calls him by his actual name in school. He's stunned until she points to the name tag on his uniform. But her knowledge, she explains, goes far beyond that. A scan reveals his power is only 8% activated, currently human tier. Convinced this is all a gaming prank, he asks if she tracked his IP address to find him. She explains her job is to be his support, which only confirms his theory they were duo partners. He bluntly tells her he's quitting gaming and that she should probably stop cosplaying in public. Our hero lectures that game skills don't work in real life, conveniently ignoring the two guys she just wrecked. After a quick glance at the defeated thugs, he awkwardly admits that maybe they do work sometimes. Hanale completely misreads the situation, convinced he's recalling epic battles from a past life. Desperate to escape the weirdness, he thanks her and tries to make a run for school. His attempt to lecture her only makes Henael admire him more for being so mature. Their conversation is interrupted by another student whose powerful entrance shatters the very air around her. The story then cuts to the imposing gates of his school, ominously named Purgatory High. Back in class, the teacher introduces a new transfer student who looks suspiciously familiar. She introduces herself as Hana Park and wastes no time picking out her new seat. With a dramatic point, she claims the empty desk right next to our bewildered hero. Ignoring the whispers of her new classmates, she walks to her seat with a determined grin. She drops into the chair beside him, happily announcing that she's found him yet again. Hana greets him by name with a blinding smile, while he can only manage a confused hi. As he tries to focus on his notes, she just watches him with an adoring, intense stare. The realization finally hits him, and he jumps in his seat, recognizing his angelic stalker. He loudly calls her out as the weird cosplay girl, completely crushing her angelic spirit. When he accuses her of following him, she cheerfully admits she's been searching for him for ages. She drops a lore bomb, calling him an Abraxas, a legendary being destined to be the strongest of all. He can only stare back in confusion, questioning the bizarre title she just gave him. She excitedly explains OTT means over the top, comparing him to a legendary card from a game. Our hero, however, is completely unconvinced by her gamerspeak explanation. He bluntly asks if she has a gaming addiction, but she just says he hasn't awakened yet. He glares back, clearly thinking she's the one who needs a reality check. Hana promises that very soon, his own body will prove her right by revealing its true power. He's left wondering what kind of true power a normal high school kid could possibly have. Later in art class, she warns him that his power is bound to emerge, no matter how hard he tries to hide it. And as he looks at his own artwork, he realizes with horror that she might be right. Back in art class, Jae-ik's hand moves with a mind of its own. The teacher holds up a disastrous sketch, scolding him for doodling. The scene shifts to the schoolyard during a break. In PE class, Jae-ik joins a game of soccer. He winds up for a kick with an unnatural burst of power. The soccer ball rockets across the field like a cannonball. It soars directly into the basketball hoop on the other side. Jae-ik is left speechless, wondering how that just happened. The coach yells at him for not knowing which sport they're playing. Later, the afternoon class is filled with sleeping students. But Jae-ik is wide awake, determined to focus on his studies. The teacher approaches, curious about his sudden academic drive. He then points out Jae-ik is studying English and Korean history class. Jae-ik sighs, frustrated that his new powers are so incredibly unhelpful. A voice whispers that it's because they aren't fully unlocked. It's a female classmate who seems to know more than she should. She reveals a test paper covered in mistakes, showing she's not exactly a scholar. Jae-ik realizes even a divine being needs to hit the books. But she promises that once he's awakened, he can skip all this. She explains that an Abraxas is a human who surpasses gods, and she is here to protect him until he reaches that final stage. Jae-ik stares at her, trying to process this revelation. Suddenly, a fist comes flying toward his face. He narrowly dodges the surprise attack. A smirking student appears, impressed by his quick reflexes. The bully turns to the girl, mocking Jae-ik's slender frame. She calmly calls the bully a wuss, shocking both him and Jae-ik. The bully recoils, furious at being insulted. The angel suggests it's time to teach him a lesson for messing with an Abraxas. She tells Jae-ik that controlling his power is key to the coming fight. Jae-ik panics, insisting he can't possibly fight back. But his guardian angel offers a smile and some firm encouragement. The bully doesn't wait, lunging forward with a furious yell. He swings a heavy fist, aiming to end the confrontation. On pure instinct, Jae-ik throws up a hand to defend himself. The bully's punch stops dead, his expression turning to confusion. A wave of force sends him flying across the classroom. He lands hard, completely stunned by the impossible impact. Dazed and bleeding, he struggles to process what just happened. A friend rushes to his side, questioning how he could have lost. The bully looks up, confused about his friend's sudden appearance. His friend points out that he was just punched through a solid wall. Meanwhile, Jae-ik stands alone in the hallway, utterly bewildered. The angel calmly enters the other classroom, finding the aftermath. She tells the friend to step aside so she can tend to the injured. A golden light emanates from her hands as she begins to heal him. The bully's wounds vanish in an instant, leaving him shocked. But healing his body did absolutely nothing for his attitude. He leaps back through the hole in the wall, seeking immediate revenge. Jae-ik braces for another attack, his face a mask of terror. The punch connects with his block, erupting in a flash of energy. The bully is thrown back as Jae-ik stares at his own sparking hands. This time, the bully is left unconscious against the far wall. The angel sighs, preparing to heal the very persistent student again. She asks if he's learned his lesson, but he just gets up screaming. He charges at Jae-ik one last time, completely out of control. But something inside our boy finally snaps. A strange power freezes the bully in his tracks, his face filled with fear. Surrounded by a dark aura, Jae-ik unleashes his own attack. He moves with blinding speed, finally taking control of the fight. But before Jae-ik can land a blow, the angel intervenes. She intercepts the bully, taking control of the situation. A single, powerful slam ends the fight for good. For the third time today, she begins the healing process. The bully wakes up dazed, thinking he's a cartoon character. The angel rushes to Jae-ik, who is convulsing with dark energy. His eyes are glowing red, a sign that something dangerous is awakening. Just then, the bully's friend arrives, ready for round 2. The angel unleashes a wave of purifying light to calm them down. The two troublemakers are suddenly filled with wholesome thoughts. They've been instantly reformed into eco-conscious model citizens. With her work done, the angel dusts off her glowing hands. She then turns her attention to the massive hole in the wall. A wave of restorative energy seals the damage completely. Jae-ik comes to, confused about the miraculously repaired classroom. The angel touches the wall, sensing the lingering power. She realizes his awakening is progressing far too quickly. She grabs Jae-ik, her expression turning deadly serious. She warns him that he's awakened the waves of evil within, and that this surge of power has alerted those who dwell in darkness. Elsewhere, a demonic sigil flares to life, sensing the new power. A powerful being stirs from the shadows, its eyes glowing red. The demon sets out to find the source of the disturbance. Meanwhile, the original thugs from the alley return with their boss. She's a loan shark, and she's furious about her boy's failure. Her underlings are shamed for losing to a high school kid. They arrive at the school gates, intent on getting payback. The boss's eye twitches, sensing an unusual presence. She spots a mysterious man walking calmly down the street. The demon smirks, having finally located his target. The thugs stare, noting the stranger's horns and expensive clothes. The demon asks if he's found Purgatory High, ignoring the loan shark. He introduces himself with a sinister grin, a devil named Scarple. The loan shark's boss flinches, shocked by his declaration. But her shock quickly dissolves into mocking laughter. She finds his claim to be a devil utterly ridiculous. With a flash in her eye, she claims to be a devil herself. She's Ushi-jim, the local loan shark known as the Little Devil. The demon leans in close and calls her a complete wuss. Ushi-jim is enraged, her professional pride deeply wounded. Scarple reconsiders, suggesting she must be an undercover imp instead. He even provides a helpful and deeply insulting bestiary entry. Furious, Ushi-jim declares she's bringing out her ultimate weapon. Her underlings shudder in fear, knowing what's about to happen. She prepares to unleash a technique of pure, unadulterated terror. The demon watches with mild interest, curious about her second form. Her ultimate move turns out to be a disturbingly cutesy pose. The psychic damage alone is enough to stagger her own men. She reveals her true power, baiting an attack to file a lawsuit. The strategy is so infuriating, even her own crew wants to hit her. The demon remains completely unfazed by her bizarre legal trap. Her thugs, however, now worship her as the pinnacle of evil. She continues her strange performance, fawning over the demon. Her expression contorts into something truly unsettling. She doubles down on the act, trying desperately to get a reaction. One of her men finally snaps, but is held back by his friend. She taunts the demon one last time, but he just stares back coldly. Elsewhere, Jae-ik is sprinting away from his guardian angel. She easily catches up, grabbing him as he tries to flee. He finally breaks, screaming that she has ruined his peaceful life. He shoves her away, yelling that her being an angel is exactly the problem. He questions the logic of a divine being attending high school. He finally confesses that he's terrified of everything that's happening. The angel tries to comfort him, offering to share his inescapable burden. She offers a simple solution to his complex fears: friendship. Jae-ik seems genuinely confused by the very idea of them being friends. She points out that as classmates, it's the most logical thing to do. With a sudden burst of energy, she invites herself to his birthday party. He's taken aback, wondering how she knew about the party. She reminds him that guardian angel is a pretty comprehensive job title. She offers him an angel's blessing as a gift, a promise to fulfill his dreams. The offer hangs in the air, making Jae-ik consider the possibilities. He finally relents, but not without setting a ground rule. His one condition: she can't tell his parents she's an angel. She enthusiastically agrees, hopping onto his back in celebration. Her eyes begin to glow with a golden light as she prepares for takeoff. In a flash, she rockets them into the sky, much to Jae-ik's horror. He panics about being seen, but her solution is simply to increase their speed. Down below, Scarple watches the spectacle while Ushi-jim continues her performance. The demon leans in close, his glowing eyes fixed on the loan shark. He finishes his sentence, calling her adorable with a sinister whisper. A strange sensation washes over her, a feeling of burning from within. The demon's words manifest as a psychic blow, striking her down. She sinks to her knees, defeated by a single terrifying compliment. Dazed and broken, she struggles to comprehend the attack. Her loyal underlings finally react, rushing forward to defend their boss. Scarple calmly states he won't attack them, snapping his fingers with a dark flourish. Instead, he simply aggravates all their pre-existing medical conditions at once. He even throws in a new ailment, musing that true evil is in the details. His crimson eyes narrow, a perfect picture of refined malevolence. Scarple looks up, recognizing the faint trail of an angel in the sky. He floats effortlessly above the ground, his mission clear. With a smirk, he mocks their amateur mistake of leaving a trace. As he flies off, the thugs below have a sudden, profound realization about life. The scene shifts to a quiet apartment building at dusk. Jaeik and his guardian angel land with a flash of light. She gently sets him down right in front of his apartment door. He immediately scolds her for the reckless flight, but she's just excited for the party. Jaeik begs her to act normal and keep the wings hidden inside. His father opens the door, noticing his son is shaking from the cold. The angel barges in, introducing herself as Hina, Jaeik's brand new friend. The father's face twitches, a flicker of recognition in his eyes. Hina's eyes glow, locking onto him with an icy, knowing glare. The father breaks into a cold sweat, clearly terrified by her presence. He stammers that everything is fine as she quietly tells him to stay in character. He awkwardly asks how Jaeik made a friend, who then fumbles for an explanation. The father presents a stunning birthday cake, surprising Jaeik. He explains that this birthday is a special one, a statement with a hidden weight. Just then, the doorbell rings, and Jaeik wonders who else could be there. A dark, unfamiliar silhouette waits on the other side of the door. It's Scarple, holding a gift and crashing the party as a future classmate. Both Hannah and the father react with pure, unadulterated shock. Jaeik is just confused by the stranger who doesn't even know his name. Scarple smoothly recovers, throwing an arm around our boy like an old friend. The father makes a hasty retreat to the kitchen as Jaeik goes to change. The moment he's gone, the dad's friendly facade shatters into pure rage. A massive blast of energy sends the demon flying through the apartment. Scarple is thrown out the window, plummeting towards the street below. The angel's eyes flare with power as she prepares to act. She launches herself toward the broken window, ready to join the fray. Hina hovers outside, accusing the demon of trying to corrupt the boy. Scarple dismisses her claims with a fiery glare. He argues that Jaeik's power surge is a direct result of evil's influence. Drawn by the noise, Jaeik cautiously peeks out from his room. He jumps back, startled to see his father standing calmly in the kitchen. Jaeik rushes to the broken balcony, yelling at them to stop their fight. He begs them to stop making a mess, while Scarple offers to fix it. His fix involves summoning demonic steel bars, which is not helping. With a flash of light, the window is restored, as the father watches in horror. Hannah warns Scarple to back off, but he claims modern devils are quite polite. He even brought a gift, unlike some angels he could mention. He opens the box, revealing a crystal orb that can show the future. Jaeik is captivated by the offer, while Hannah remains deeply suspicious. Meanwhile, the dad makes a strategic retreat into the shadows. Scarple grins, inviting Jaeik to discover his ultimate destiny. His crimson eyes glow, promising a glimpse into the unknown. The orb flares to life, posing the ultimate question of good versus evil. A rapid, blurry vision flashes before their eyes. The trio is left completely baffled by the high-speed preview. Jaeik complains that the vision was faster than his online lectures. He stares at a distorted image, wondering if his future is just blurry. Scarple decides to give the orb a little demonic adjustment. A dark, menacing silhouette now fills the vision, much to his delight. Hannah has seen enough, interrupting the viewing with a powerful slap. The demon is sent flying as she calls him out for his cheap tricks. Scarple recovers, now in a more demonic form, mocking her hypocrisy. Hannah's own form shifts as she warns him that her patience is wearing thin. But it's Jaeik who finally reaches his breaking point. He screams at them for turning his birthday party into a disaster zone. He begs them to stop before his dad sees, completely unaware of the truth. Just then, the sound of the front door's keypad cuts through the tension. Jaeik panics, screaming that his mom is home and they need to fix the mess. His mother walks in, greeted by a very flustered Jaeik. But Scarple is right behind him, casually pointing out that she's late. She freezes, recognizing the demon who warns her not to break character. She plays along, welcoming the uninvited guests with a very forced smile. The dad reappears with the cake, trying to salvage the world's most awkward party. The result is a deeply uncomfortable silence around the birthday cake. His father breaks the silence, asking for a way to light the candles. Scarple's eyes gleam with a particularly unhelpful idea. He offers a solution straight from the underworld, a ball of pure hellfire. Jaeik nervously asks why a model student would be carrying a lighter like that. Not to be outdone, Hannah declares that the party needs some music. She promptly summons a heavenly choir to serenade the birthday boy. Her angelic backup singers seem to be struggling a bit with the high notes. Jae-sik desperately tries to explain it away as a new AI speaker. Meanwhile, his parents watch from the kitchen, observing the chaos. They whisper that on his 19th birthday, both sides have come to claim him. Their greatest fear is that he'll discover who they really are. But Jae-ik just thanks them for the party, completely oblivious. His sincere gratitude leaves them flustered as they tell him to make a wish. The angel and demon both find his innocence. Interesting. But the narrator reminds us that this peace cannot possibly last. A vision flashes, showing a future where Jae-ik is feared by all. Back in the present, he prepares to blow out the candles, wish made. His father suddenly brings up the cautionary tale of a legendary Abraxas, a being of immense power, whose first act was driven by a minor annoyance. After getting his socks wet, he unleashed an apocalyptic tantrum. With a single breath, he sank an entire continent from the map. As the candles go out, Hannah breathes a sigh of relief that the city is still standing. A serrated blade glints ominously in the dark. As Jae-ik moves to cut the cake, his father cries out in warning. Scarpel continues his story about the Abraxas of Mars, a being who, in a fit of rage over his birthday, attacked a planet. With a single slash, he scarred the world, making it uninhabitable. Back in the present, Jae-ik cuts the cake with perfect precision. The angel and demon whisper, debating his slow awakening. They decide his birthday wish will reveal his true path. Hannah expects a wish for peace. Scarpel hopes for world domination. His parents lean in, desperate to hear his grand destiny. Jae-ik announces that his purpose has finally become clear. He sits in shadow, a newfound resolve in his voice. His eye glows red as he declares he knows what he must do. The room begins to shake as his power level surges past 15%. His family watches in terror as he speaks of unleashing his potential. Scarpel grins maniacally as the activation rate soars to 20%. Surrounded by a powerful aura, Jae-ik declares his old self is gone. He takes a deep breath, ready to announce his new purpose. His ultimate goal, it turns out, is to study really hard. He envisions himself getting into a top-tier university and landing a stable, high-paying corporate job. The audience is underwhelmed. The rumbling, it seems, was just the microwave falling over. Hina and his father erupt into forced, awkward applause. They praise his incredibly mundane and responsible life goal. Scarpel, however, is deeply disappointed in this turn of events. He celebrates this revelation by smashing Jae-ik's face into the cake. Hina protests, but the demon just laughs it off as friendly roughhousing. The father looks on, heartbroken over his very first baking attempt. Jae-ik, covered in frosting, heads off to clean himself up. Scarpel scoffs, unimpressed by the boy's slow progress and reflexes. Scarpel wonders if there are other conditions for the boy's awakening. He snaps his fingers, realizing they've forgotten the ultimate sign. With a flourish of demonic wings, he declares Jae-ik is destined for darkness. Hannah counters with her own angelic light, insisting his wings will be white. She argues his noble wish proves he's on the path of good. But Scarpel reminds her of the evil energy he sensed from the boy. He explains that Jae-ik has two sets of wings, one good, one evil. Hannah refuses to believe it, certain the good in him will prevail. She vows to prove him wrong, as Jae-ik's parents look on in despair. The celestial beings turn to the parents, giving them new orders. They will both continue guiding Jae-ik, one toward light, the other to shadow. The parents protest, reminding them their 19-year contract is up. But their service has just been officially and non-negotiably extended. The two look utterly broken, their dreams of retirement shattered. Meanwhile, Jae-ik washes the cake from his face in the bathroom. He looks in the mirror, acknowledging a strange feeling in his body. A sudden pulse of energy radiates from his back. Two glowing sigils appear between his shoulder blades. He stares ahead, a quiet understanding dawning on his face. The next day, he walks down the street and spots a bag left on a bench. He opens it to find a massive stack of cash inside. Our boy is stunned, wondering just how much money this is. Just then, a distraught young woman appears, searching for something she lost. She cries out in despair, realizing she's lost her entire semester's tuition. Jae-ik hesitates, thinking he can't just stand by and watch someone suffer. He approaches her, holding out the bag he found. The woman is overcome with relief, thanking him again and again. She even asks if he's an angel, which is just a little on the nose. He smiles but then pauses as she counts the money. As she realizes some cash is missing, Jae-ik is already sprinting away with his reward. A new student offers his friends some very questionable advice. They hesitate, wondering if they should trust his cunning plan. While the girls create a distraction, he quietly slips past the gate. He makes a mad dash for the school building, his escape in sight. The guard is completely focused on the girl's very dramatic story. The boy reflects on his philosophy, survival by any means necessary, but his escape is cut short when the guard finally spots him. Thinking fast, he sells out 2 other students skipping class. The guard falls for it because snitches apparently get passes. Jae-ik wonders if this is what it means to become a devil. Back in class, the teacher announces a new transfer student. He asks the class to welcome the newcomer from abroad. The classroom door slides open with a dramatic rattle. It's Scarple, rocking a designer uniform and a pair of horns. He introduces himself as a messenger from hell, here to attend school. With a snap of his fingers, he prepares a welcome gift for his new friends. A dark, fiery energy erupts from his hands. His gift is a mountain of burgers, flame-broiled on actual hellfire. The class devours the spicy food, instantly won over by the demon. Scarple smirks, his plan to win hearts and minds a roaring success. He then points to the only available seat, right next to Jae-ik. He greets our boy, while Hana gives him a death glare. Jae-ik is caught between an angel and a demon, and it's only first period. Hana calls him out for his ridiculously conspicuous name. Scarple argues that giving people what they want is the devil's way. They both begin vying for Jae-ik's loyalty, making grand promises. Our boy stands in the middle, caught between light and shadow. He questions whether he has any choice in this cosmic drama. A vision of the future shows an older Jae-ik in college with a girlfriend. He casually unleashes his power, a sign of things to come. The vision continues, showing a massive explosion tearing through a building. His future girlfriend looks on in utter confusion, held safely in his arms. The scene shifts to a job interview, where a candidate lists their stellar qualifications. The interviewer then turns his attention to Jae-ik, asking what he brings to the table. Jae-ik, looking very professional, declares that his special skill is the ability to turn the entire office into a raging inferno. Back in the present, Jae-ik realizes that for his dream of a normal life, these powers are completely useless. Elsewhere, Hina and Scarple have a private meeting outside the school. The demon insists they can't discuss their plans around mortals. Scarple stops, getting straight to the point of their little chat. He demands that Hina hand over Jae-ik to the forces of darkness. She refuses, declaring that the boy is heaven's last hope. Scarple's face twists into a shadowy grin as he mocks her naivety. Hina's eyes glow, believing the demon has walked right into her trap. But a dark sigil flares to life beneath her feet, revealing his counterplan. Demonic chains erupt from the ground, binding the angel completely. Scarple waves goodbye, pleased with his morning's work. He leaves her behind, off to help Jae-ik make his choice. The scene shifts to a quiet hallway inside the school. A new student with an eye patch walks past, minding his own business. Scarple appears, immediately taunting the student with a very specific insult. He leans in close, repeating the word until the student's temper begins to fray. The student slams his fist against the wall, only to find it impossibly hard. Scarple continues his psychological attack, pushing the boy closer to the edge. A nearby student's innocent craving for sushi becomes an accidental trigger. The eye patch-wearing student snaps, grabbing the boy in a rage. Even a conversation about a wisteria tree sets him off. Apparently, he has very sensitive ears. He throws the poor student out the window, completely losing control. Scarple laughs, enjoying the chaos he's created with a single word. But a brief flashback shows a shy girl asking him if he likes flowers, hinting at a softer side. The eye patch student tries to play it cool as a girl offers him flowers. But her kind words about the hydrangeas only seem to make him tremble. He collapses, admitting that the insult has completely broken him. He rages against the monster who taunted him, feeling utterly powerless. A hand reaches down, offering a solution to his despair. Scarple offers him the chance to wield the very same kind of power. The student looks up, desperate to know how to get it. A demonic light reflects in his tear-filled eye. The demon explains the terms. A simple deal is all it takes. The red glow of a predator's eye fills the screen. The boy panics, assuming he has to sell his soul for a bargain price. But Scarple isn't interested in souls. He just wants the boy to get revenge. Fueled by rage, the student clenches his fist and accepts the offer. A dark energy flows from the demon, entering the boy's mind. He screams as demonic power surges through his body. The transformation is agonizing, a baptism by hellfire. A new tattoo appears on his hand, marking him as the #1 thug. He roars, declaring himself the strongest man on Earth. Scarple calmly corrects him, downgrading his title to strongest in the province. The newly empowered student celebrates his newfound confidence. Elsewhere, Jae-ik stands on a rooftop, contemplating his own destiny. He looks to the sky, thinking about the awakening he never asked for. He reveals the sigils on his back, useless for his dream of a good career. With a solemn look, he decides his future will not be dictated by fate. He cues up a very dramatic song on his phone for the occasion. His grand gesture involves pulling out a pain relief patch. He slaps it on his shoulder, ready to cast off his metaphysical chains. With 2 patches covering his sigils, he declares his own kind of awakening. He needs a good test score, not superpowers, to live a normal life. With grim determination, he vows to lock his powers away for good. He pushes open the rooftop door, ready for a new beginning. This, he declares, is the path he has chosen for himself. But his quiet moment of resolve is immediately interrupted. The demon's new champion bursts through, his eyes glowing with rage. Jae-ik tries to de-escalate, asking if he's okay from studying too hard. The student's only answer is a fist crackling with dark energy. He lands a devastating blow, accusing Jae-ik of looking down on him. The impact sends our boy's glasses flying as he coughs up blood. He's thrown backward, right off the edge of the school roof. A cloud of dust marks his brutal landing on the ground below. From above, Scarple watches the chaos he's unleashed. His plan was simple: use a trigger to awaken Jae-ik's evil waves. He smirks, confident that his little experiment will be a success. Elsewhere, Hina is still bound by demonic chains. She feels the surge of dark power, wondering what's happening. Back on the roof, the empowered student leaps down to finish the fight. He lands with enough force to crack the pavement. Jae-ik struggles to his feet, his body battered and bruised. But a strange, cold aura now surrounds him, his eyes glowing blue. The student hesitates, surprised by this sudden transformation. Jae-ik insists he doesn't want to fight, his voice strained. But his attacker recounts his humiliation, his pride deeply wounded. He glares, his rage burning brighter than ever. With a roar, he charges forward for another attack. This time, Jae-ik stands his ground, ready for the impact. The student mocks him for trying to play the hero. He demands Jae-ik fight back with the same power as before. Jae-ik finally unleashes a counterattack of his own. His fist connects squarely with the student's jaw. The force of the blow sends his opponent's head snapping back. The student unleashes a furious barrage of punches. But Jae-ik just stands there, trying to talk him down. He pleads with the boy, asking him to stop the fight. His attacker is stunned that his blows have absolutely no effect. Jae-ik notes that the punches barely even tickle. From above, Scarple observes the one-sided beatdown. He concludes that Henna's influence has made the boy far too soft. Deciding to intervene, he spreads his demonic wings. He seizes control of the student, manipulating him like a puppet. The boy screams as a new, uncontrollable power surges within him. Scarple gives his new pawn a little demonic push. The student's body contorts, overwhelmed by the dark energy. He roars, transforming into a horned, monstrous version of himself. His eyes now glow with a malevolent red light. Jae-ik can only watch, confused by the sudden power-up. A flash of red appears in his own eye, a sign of his awakening. The transformed student lands a devastating punch. Jae-ik finally flinches, admitting that one actually hurt. His opponent grins, reveling in his newfound strength. He grabs Jae-ik, taunting him for his weakness. He follows up with a powerful blow to the gut. He lifts our boy into the air, ready for another strike. A brutal knee sends Jae-ik reeling backward. The impact sends him flying across the pavement. But he gets up, his expression now cold and determined. The student celebrates, convinced he's the strongest there is. Just then, Hina arrives on the scene looking furious. She sees Scarple controlling Jae-ik, forcing him into the fight. She kicks off her slipper, preparing to deliver some justice. A trash disposal kick connects squarely with the demon's face. Scarple's hand snaps, unleashing tendrils of dark energy. The energy strikes his puppet, severing the connection. Scarple hits the ground, impressed she broke free so fast. She lands, calling his trap amateurish at best. But the demon sees through her tough act, noting her fatigue. In a flash, he closes the distance between them. He catches her in a chokehold, taking advantage of her weakness. The demon tightens his grip, trying to subdue her. He lifts her effortlessly, mocking her previous attack. But Hina wasn't caught. She was waiting for an opening. A powerful kick sends the demon reeling across the rooftop. He lands hard, stunned by her powerful counterattack. She declares that his cheap tricks are getting predictable. Scarple just smirks, impressed by her resilience. He then prepares another, more powerful spell. This time, demonic chains shoot out, binding her completely. She struggles against the chains, questioning his very specific hobby. He lunges, explaining that he never takes unnecessary risks. The chains constrict, leaving her completely immobilized. But a massive surge of power erupts from below. It's Jae-ik, unleashing a wave of energy that shatters the chains. The sheer force of his rejection sends them both flying. They land in a heap, taken out by a kid who just wants to be normal. Jae-ik stands in the aftermath, his voice quiet but firm. He declares once more that all he wants is a normal life. Scarple tells Hina this is proof of the darkness within him. He explains that Jae-ik must embrace his evil to truly awaken. The transformed student is enraged by Jae-ik's wish. He screams that if Jae-ik won't use his power, he should give it up. With a final roar, he launches one last desperate attack. The transformed student winces, his face contorted in pain. Jae-ik responds with a surprisingly graceful high kick. The student barely manages to block the blow with his arm. He stumbles back, clutching his now broken wrist in agony. Jae-ik clenches his fist, a cold blue energy gathering around it. He draws back his arm, preparing to unleash his power. With a furious cry, he slams his fist into the ground. The concrete shatters on impact, sending debris flying. A massive shockwave erupts, shaking the entire rooftop. His opponent can only stare, completely stunned by the raw power. Down below, the students wonder if the school is undergoing renovations. Jae-ik stands in the center of a newly formed crater. The demon-powered student is now sweating with pure terror. Jae-ik complains that punching the floor hurts his knuckles too. Scarple grins, realizing every blow is accelerating the boy's awakening. The student falls to his knees, begging for forgiveness. Jae-ik turns away, delivering a very earnest anti-bullying PSA. But his opponent's fear turns to a malicious, toothy grin. He lunges forward, screaming the first rule of any video game boss fight. A fist crackling with dark energy slams into Jae-ik's back. The student gloats, mocking our boy for his rookie mistake. But he stops cold, realizing something is very wrong. Steam rises from Jae-ik's back. The punch had absolutely no effect. Jae-ik turns slowly, his eyes glowing with an icy blue light. The student stumbles back, unable to believe his attack failed. Scarple cackles, delighted that his plan is finally bearing fruit. Hina dashes forward, screaming for Jae-ik to fight the darkness. A cold flare of light emanates from Jae-ik's eyes. Surrounded by a green aura, he declares there's only one cure for this. The transformed student can only watch, paralyzed by fear. A dark green aura erupts around Jae-ik as he winds up for a punch. Hina screams for him to stop, warning that he's becoming dangerous. The demon-powered student can only shield his face in terror. Jae-ik declares this is for those who won't accept peace. Hina throws up a shield, protecting the student from the incoming blow. The impact unleashes a massive wave of concussive force. She pleads with him, insisting he has to stop this madness. But Jae-ik just grits his teeth, lost in his own power. Scarple watches with a snack, noting the activation rate has hit 41%. The numbers continue to climb, a terrifying countdown to disaster. As it hits 45%, Henna's desperate shield begins to crack. The barrier shatters into 1,000 pieces of light. The student grabs Hina, trying to shield her from the blast, but she shoves him aside, taking the brunt of the force herself. A massive explosion engulfs the entire rooftop in light. Jae-ik stands in the aftermath, declaring his peaceful life is over. His eyes flash, announcing he's made a 179-degree turn. Hina breathes a sigh of relief that he hasn't gone full evil just yet. But she knows he's already far too powerful to control. Her shields, she realizes, are now completely useless against him. As the student gets up again, Hina prepares for another round. Jae-ik watches them with a cold, unfeeling gaze. She summons a mega shield, a desperate attempt to hold the line, but it shatters instantly, throwing her backward. Jae-ik charges forward as Scarple celebrates the release of his evil waves. Hina powers up, her entire body glowing with divine energy. She unleashes her ultimate defense, a massive Giga Shield. Jae-ik meets it with a furious barrage of unrelenting punches. This, Scarple notes, is the last-minute Wildcat train skill. It's a sign that Jae-ik is losing all reason and control. The activation rate surges past 50% as he pummels the shield. He's completely lost in a blind, destructive rage. With a final, deafening clang, the Giga Shield is obliterated. Hina is thrown across the rooftop, unable to stop his assault. Sprouting her wings, she tries to regain control of the situation. She catches the demon-powered student, realizing he's just a victim. He thanks her for saving him, still dazed from the chaos. She asks if he's okay, still calling him a wuss out of habit. He protests the nickname, but she's too tired to care. She pushes him to safety, warning that Jae-ik is about to turn evil. Hina launches herself toward Jae-ik, begging him to stop his rampage. But Jae-ik is lost in his own mind, feeling a strange new sensation. He stands between two paths, feeling desires he's never known. He wonders if this is the feeling of his powers finally unleashed. A dark fire burns behind his eyes as he embraces the power. His face contorts, a manic grin spreading across his lips. Suddenly, a hand grips a glowing hilt, apologizing for what's to come. Hina drives a strange object into his back to stop his rampage. The surge of power instantly vanishes, replaced by a new thought. He decides that winning fights is for losers. Real winners win at life. The dark energy dissipates as he slumps forward, completely pacified. She used the legendary straw of Calm Down Man. Yes, really. Scarple rushes in, furious that she used such a cheap trick. Jae-ik is left reeling, completely baffled by the sudden mood swing. But Scarple grabs the other end, refusing to let her win so easily. A new wave of rage washes over Jae-ik, even stronger than before. The demon whispers in his ear, urging him to embrace his true nature. It turns out the straw is collapsible, designed to dig out deeper anger. He's caught in a psychic tug-of-war between angel and demon. The other student can only watch, realizing he's in a different league. The student smirks, still convinced he's the #1 thug. But the tattoo on his hand now reads, "No 285 nerd." Reality hits hard. Jae-ik is caught in a mental war, torn between rage and reason. His eyes flash with a sudden, profound understanding. A wave of energy erupts, pushing everyone away from him. He realizes that if these powers came to him, he can also let them go. Hina and Scarple watch as his activation rate plummets in real time. He embraces the light, declaring he has achieved non-possession. The celestial beings are stunned. He's mastered a legendary skill of nothingness. A calm, composed Jae-ik now looms over his defeated opponent. He explains he's traded his useless powers for a new one. His ultimate ability, it turns out, is the power of positive thinking. The student is moved to tears, asking if he can truly be forgiven. Jae-ik helps him up, and the two walk off as reformed best friends. Hina is delighted by this outcome. Scarple is just disgusted. She beams with pride, impressed he chose the path of an angel. The demon can't believe Jae-ik has the power to control his own awakening. The two new friends wave goodbye, promising to greet each other with a smile. Later that evening, Jae-ik arrives home, happy and at peace. His parents greet him as he shares he had an eye-opening day. He clenches his fist, promising to make the most of his life. But as he walks past, his parents' friendly faces fall. Their expressions turn cold, their true nature showing through. The father gushes over how pure his son is, but the mother is not convinced. Her eye glows with a sinister red light, a plan forming in her mind. She opens a drawer, revealing a book bound with a demonic skull. Stepping onto the balcony, she pulls out an old flip phone. The phone rings, its cheerful tune about making hell a better place. A demonic servant on the other end complains about the interruption. She declares she's calling the boss. Scarple is clearly too soft for this job. A voice from the depths of hell confirms the request has been accepted. Deep within an endless abyss, a lone figure has been imprisoned. This is the lowest level of hell, a place for the truly irredeemable. And now, a voice from the mortal world is calling out a name. She is summoning a being known only as a hellbound destroyer, a creature whose sole purpose is to leave nothing but ruin in its wake. She calls out his name, Mercurochrome, declaring him free at last. From behind the bars of his eternal prison, a single red eye gleams. The armored demon stirs, questioning if his freedom is finally real. Back in the apartment, Jae-ik's father is having a complete meltdown. He can't believe his wife has just summoned a Satan-grade devil. He argues that their 19-year plan has failed, but this is going too far. He pleads with her, genuinely worried for Jae-ik's safety. But she crushes his finger, reminding him their job isn't to prevent harm. She accuses him of getting attached, of letting foolish sentiment interfere. He stares at his injured hand, stunned by her absolute coldness. As she fumes with demonic energy, he begs her to lower her voice. They both freeze, realizing their argument was not as quiet as they thought. Jae-ik stands in the doorway, having overheard every single word. Elsewhere, a quiet city intersection begins to rumble ominously. The asphalt cracks and shatters as something pushes up from below. A massive silhouette erupts from the ground with explosive force. A pillar of dark energy marks the arrival of a new player. The armored demon lands, his glowing eyes scanning the new world. Mercurochrome, the daredevil destroyer, breathes the surface air at last. He roars, feeling a surge of power he hasn't known in centuries. His glowing eyes narrow, ready to unleash untold destruction. His internal scanner helpfully labels everything as destructible. It's a target-rich environment, but his summoner gives him a mission. Capture Jae-ik first, then he can have his fun. Mercurochrome begins his march, noting she never said he had to bring the boy back alive, but the destroyer's grand entrance is met with a chorus of angry car horns. He brandishes a massive scythe, unconcerned with mortal traffic laws. His philosophy is simple. If you block his way, you will be destroyed. He unleashes a massive blast of energy, declaring he doesn't believe in legends. The beam carves a path of utter devastation straight through the city. He stands in the wreckage, dismissing the Abraxas as an overblown myth. He plans to write a new legend, one where he comes out on top. Back in the apartment, Jae-ik struggles with the truth he just overheard. His parents try to play it off, claiming it was just a TV show plot. But Jae-ik isn't buying it, screaming for his father to tell him the truth. The father breaks instantly, bowing and confirming he's not his real dad. The mother is furious, but her husband just whimpers that he's a terrible liar. She flinches, knowing there's no way to talk their way out of this. Jae-ik turns to her, his voice heavy, realizing she isn't his mother either. Her silence is all the confirmation he needs. He slowly takes off his glasses, his expression hardening. A strange aura surrounds him as he demands to know everything. His parents can only watch as his latent power makes the room shake. The mother sighs, finally resigning herself to telling the whole story. She begins her tale long ago when heaven and hell were at war. A stained glass window illustrates the endless conflict between the two realms. The war dragged on for 1,000 years, leaving nothing but ruin. To end it all, they agreed to a final duel between two champions. Jaek yawns, asking for the 5-sentence version of this epic lore dump. She informs him that was merely the introduction. She names the champions, the Archdevil Baal and the Archangel Seraphim. Their legendary fight would be known as the Duel of the Valhalla Rift. Jaek shushes his father, who gets defensive over the Archangel's name. In a flashback, the Archdevil Baal taunts his opponent before their battle. The Archangel Seraphim appears, ready to answer with the power of light. Their final attacks collide in a blinding explosion of energy. But even after 1,000 years, their brutal duel was far from over. The battle raged on, shattering the very foundations of their world. Seraphim admits they are both on the verge of complete collapse. Baal agrees, knowing they must end this stalemate once and for all. The Archangel gathers her remaining power for one last, desperate move. The Archdevil prepares his own ultimate world-ending technique. Seraphim unleashes the virtue of honesty, a weapon of pure light. Baal counters with the vice of sanctimony, an attack of pure darkness. The two abstract concepts fly toward each other, ready to clash. Their powers meet, creating an explosion of conflicting ideals. But in the aftermath, something truly unbelievable happens. The two attacks fuse, creating a strange and powerful new emotion. A feeling that leaves both champions flustered and deeply confused. The armies of heaven and hell can only stare in utter disbelief. The two former enemies now look at each other in a completely new light. A nearby cherub provides some very unhelpful mood music. Their animosity melts away, replaced by an undeniable connection. The onlookers shield their eyes, horrified by this turn of events. They are consumed by a desire that transcends war and reason. Their armies desperately try to intervene, but it's already too late. The narrator struggles to explain what happened next in a family-friendly way. Jaek's father tries to shield him from the awkward details of the story, but his mother insists that at his age he should know the truth. She continues, explaining that the inevitable finally took place, and from that union of light and darkness, a child was born. Jaek is left speechless, realizing he is that very child. But his father taps his shoulder, revealing the story isn't over yet. Jaek listens intently, his world completely turned upside down. Elsewhere, a group of thugs wonders about the source of all the commotion. Ushijime and her crew survey the destruction, contemplating a career change. But her business planning is cut short by an approaching figure. The armored demon Mercurochrome looms over them, a titan of dark energy. He roars a simple warning, do not stand in his way. The thugs are completely baffled by this new, heavily armored weirdo. His glowing eyes narrow as he repeats his command with chilling finality. Ushijime, however, is not one to be easily intimidated. She grits her teeth, declaring her pride won't let her be ordered around. The demon's aura flares, a silent challenge to her street-level authority. Her underlings try to threaten the being, warning him to respect their boss. Ushijime decides it's time to teach this newcomer a lesson in respect. She moves in a blur, ready to make a powerful statement. Her statement involves slamming her own men into a nearby wall. Mercurochrome simply lifts a hand, utterly unimpressed by the display. He gives his final warning, his patience clearly at an end. But Ushijime's stubborn pride still refuses to let her back down. In a flash, the demon dashes past her, a blur of dark armor. He offers her a place beside him, and she surprisingly accepts. He asks for directions, and she politely tells him to go around the block. The demon clenches his fist, deeply offended by the concept of a detour. He raises his scythe, screaming that go around is not in his vocabulary. A massive blast of energy obliterates the building blocking his path. He stands in the rubble, declaring he only moves in a straight line. When there is no road, he explains, a strong person makes one. Ushijime is instantly converted, having witnessed true, unadulterated power. She abandons all pride, admitting she's drawn to overwhelming strength. With manic devotion, she rushes to follow her destructive new idol. The demon roars again, this time telling her not to stand in front of him. She immediately kneels, offering to be his human navigation system. He accepts, and she begins crawling ahead, guiding the destroyer on his path. The mother continues, explaining why he's been important from the start. She believes she's the only one who can tell the story properly. His father adds that news of his birth spread like wildfire. It sparked whispers of an ancient prophecy about the ultimate Abraxas, a being destined to awaken at 19 and become invincible. The prophecy's final question: would he choose the angels or the devils? But many dismissed the tale as nothing more than an old legend. In the highest courts, the debate raged on, fueled by disbelief. The devils declared their intent to claim the child for themselves. The angels protested, arguing the boy would stand with the light. They claimed he was a product of love, destined for heaven. The devils countered that he was born of desire, a future champion of hell. The argument is reenacted with a little too much dramatic flair. Jaek asks them to skip the dinner theater and get to the point. Unable to agree, the two sides decided to forge a contract. A pact was made. 2 preservers would watch him until he turned 19. This was the first agreement in history between heaven and hell. His mother reveals she was chosen by the devils, his father by the angels. And that, they explain, is how they came to be his parents. Jaek looks down, the weight of the truth finally sinking in. He trembles, realizing his entire life has been a carefully constructed lie. A wave of power erupts as he screams, his world shattering around him. His father cowers, but his mother remains cold, daring him to rage. She knows that once Mercurochrome arrives, this will all be over. Elsewhere, the destroyer continues his march, led by his new guide. She points to their destination, stirring a memory of crossing the Styx. He declares that ever since that day, he has known no fear. A city bus blocks his path, its horn blaring a challenge. Ushijim warns him of the red light, but he doesn't follow mortal rules. He smashes straight through the vehicle, continuing his relentless advance. The destroyer dismisses the impact, saying it barely even itched. Ushijim can only stare, completely stunned by his raw power. She's overwhelmed, finding his absolute strength deeply attractive. He orders her to continue leading, and she eagerly obeys. High above, a winged figure soars through the night sky. It's Heir, shocked that hell would send a Satan-class demon. Skarple watches nearby, admitting it's a vile but effective strategy. He reveals the plan, as Heir realizes he's been watching all along. Skarple taunts her for her absence, leaving her speechless with guilt. Back in the apartment, Jaek is consumed by a dark, unstable aura. His parents can only shudder, terrified of the power he's unleashing. As Jaek rages, Mercurochrome senses the waves of wrath from afar. He promises Ushijim a place at his side once he's free. One of her men cheers, ready to join the world-destroying party. Mercurochrome promptly crushes him for his insolence. With a mighty leap, the destroyer rockets toward his target. Heir flies to intercept, refusing to let him get near Jaek. Her eyes glow with power as she prepares to make her stand. She summons a massive Terra shield, a wall of pure light. The demon's fist glows with an overwhelming, destructive energy. He shatters her shield with a single blow, sending her reeling. He roars, questioning how a mere guardian dares to block his path. Heir crashes to the ground, her defense completely broken. She struggles to rise, realizing she's powerless to stop him. The destroyer smashes into the apartment, his arrival shaking the room. He looks down at Jaek, almost feeling bad about what's to come. He declares he will write a new legend by defeating the Abraxas. But Jaek just looks up calmly and asks who he even is. The demon is completely thrown off by the casual question. Jaek lands a punch, telling him not to interrupt a family matter. The punch connects, sending a shockwave through the demon's armored face. Mercurochrome is launched out of the building, shattering glass and concrete. He crashes into the street below, leaving a massive crater in the pavement. From the dust, his shadowy form rises, completely unfazed by the attack. Jaek's fist smokes as he complains. The demon made him lose his train of thought. The destroyer flies back up, impressed, as Ushijim finds a new role model. She celebrates this turn of events, convinced her life is about to get much better. Her devotion is immediate and frankly a little unsettling. She renounces her old life, ready to follow this new path of destruction. Back inside, Jaek's father makes a desperate run for the exit. But a wave of green energy from Jaek stops him in his tracks. He's dragged back, screaming that his 19-year contract is officially over. The mother watches nervously as her husband's escape plan fails. Jaek's glowing eyes fix on the 2 beings who raised him. He reaches out, his power extending toward them both. The mother is stunned, realizing his powers are evolving at an alarming rate. They're both lifted into the air, begging him not to destroy them. The father panics, confessing they were just pawns following orders. He tries a more emotional approach, reminding Jaek of their past. He tearfully admits he truly tried to be the father Jaek deserved. The mother, however, is furious at his sentimental outburst. Her own rage flares as she accuses him of finally being honest. The 2 then start screaming at each other, demanding a divorce mid-abduction. Jaek's voice cuts through the chaos, ordering them to stop. He unleashes a wave of force, telling them not to fight in front of him. The blast sends his foster parents flying out of the apartment. He stands alone in the wreckage, a figure of immense, uncontrolled power. Floating outside, the 2 quickly apologize for their behavior. Hina and Skarple watch from afar, noting his power is skyrocketing. Heir realizes with dread that this is getting far too public. Heir looks down, her eyes confirming her worst fears. A crowd has gathered below, witnessing the impossible destruction. She knows they have to erase this entire event from history. Skarple, ever the team player, wishes her the best of luck. She gives him a swift kick, ordering him to deal with the other demon. He complains about her methods, but is happy to be out of cleanup duty. Frustrated, she prepares for the massive citywide task ahead, but she steels herself, ready to do what must be done. She soars over the ruined city, ready to make the ultimate sacrifice. With a cry, she unleashes a wave of restorative energy. Meanwhile, Scarple drags the unconscious destroyer away from the scene. He opens a swirling portal, a one-way ticket back to the underworld. He unceremoniously dumps the demon back where he came from. With a casual wave, he sends his regards to the big boss downstairs. High above, Hina pours every last ounce of her power into the spell. A pillar of light explodes, blanketing the entire city. The damage is undone in an instant, the city made whole again. The people below are left dazed, their memories of the chaos wiped clean. A bus driver dismisses the destruction as just a bad dream. The entire city returns to a state of perfect, mundane normalcy. The crowd's panic is replaced with simple, everyday confusion. But the massive spell has taken a heavy toll on the angel. She feels dizzy, her energy completely and utterly spent. Her body gives out, her consciousness beginning to fade. She hangs motionless in the sky, completely vulnerable. Her wings of light dissolve and she plummets toward the ground. A fallen angel, helpless as she falls from the heavens. But Scarple appears, catching her just before she hits the ground. He looks down at her, cynically wondering if this is some kind of trap. He knows he has a very unbelievable story to tell, if anyone were to ask. Scarple holds the unconscious angel, noting her fall would be very convenient. A sinister grin spreads across his face as he mocks her weakness. His crimson eyes gleam, a silent reminder that he is, after all, a devil. With a flourish, he sends her on a very literal trip to hell. Back at the apartment, a single light burns in the quiet night. Inside, Jaeik stands amidst the wreckage, his foster parents cowering. The father offers a terrible pun as an apology, earning a glare from his wife. Jaeik's hand reaches down, picking up a shattered picture frame. He stares at it, the weight of 19 years of lies crashing down. The happy family in the photo was nothing but a carefully crafted illusion. He recalls every staged memory, every fake family outing. He screams, demanding to know why the deception had to be so complete. His mother bluntly admits it was all for self-preservation. He grits his teeth, consumed by the pain of their betrayal. A single tear escapes as he realizes no one ever knew the truth. But then, a strange thought cuts through his despair. If no one noticed, not even him, it means they were actually incredible parents. Well, that's one way to look at it. The two celestial beings watch him, completely baffled by this turn. Jaeik takes a slow, deliberate step toward them. He reaches out, grabbing both of their arms with a firm grip. He bows his head, thanking them for everything and leaving them speechless. He realizes they were a perfect family because they acted like one. With a chilling smirk, he asks them to continue their roles. They immediately protest, citing contracts, integrity, and a lack of overtime pay. But Jaeik silences them, his grip tightening around their hands. A surge of power makes them cry out in pain. He repeats his request, making it clear it's not really a request. He doesn't want to break this family, whether they like it or not. The scene shifts to the fiery depths of hell, a sign of things to come. A new figure stands before a massive demon, declaring it's his turn to act. He flashes a sinister grin, offering a polite warning to brace for impact. He promises his attack will be like a barrage of missiles. His missiles turn out to be a series of truly terrible jokes about heaven. The demon erupts in laughter, praising his unmatched talent for celestial slander. He offers the man a place in hell, a fitting home for his unique skills. The man checks a strange device, noting his corruption level is still safely in the blue. He's Brinkiel, an archangel teetering on the edge of a permanent fall from grace. The demon, a negotiator named Pushing It, makes an offer to sweeten the deal. Yes, his name is literally Pushing It. Brinkiel seems to ponder the generous recruitment package. He coolly counters, suggesting that double the offer might just seal the deal. Pushing It protests, but Brinkiel explains he's not an angel who works for free. He reasons that if he's going to fall, he needs the best possible safety net. He accepts the future offer, expecting his legion of 10,000 when the time comes. For now, however, he still has some angelic duties to attend to. Brinkiel walks through hell, critiquing the decor like a disgruntled interior designer. He continues his review, complaining about the lack of amenities and the awful smell. In the distance, he spots a group of small, shrieking creatures. A pair of local imps look up, surprised by the visitor. They immediately recognize him as an angel and demand to know his business. One of them screams for the others to attack the intruder. Brinkiel casually trips the first charging demon without even looking. He sends another one tumbling, chiding them for attacking their future boss. A simple kick sends one of the imps flying through the air. Another is booted away with effortless, almost bored precision. He gracefully dodges an incoming attack, moving like a shadow. He lands a powerful blow, lamenting the lack of experience points from these low-level mobs. The impact sends a shockwave across the cavern floor. The imps are left in a defeated smoking heap on the ground. Brinkiel chuckles, taking in the chaotic scenery with a fond smile. He leaves the low-level demons in a defeated heap on the ground, but a sound from above catches his attention. A lone figure plummets into the fiery depths of hell. Brinkiel looks up, wondering if an angel is actually falling from the sky. The figure lands with a bone-jarring thud, right on top of the demon who was just complaining about his abs. Brinkiel smirks, amused to find a literal fallen angel at his feet. He recognizes the unconscious guardian, Hina. He correctly deduces that she must have failed her mission, which means his own time to act is fast approaching. The story flashes back to a time before the mission even began. A voice from a waiting room hypes himself up for an audition. Inside, a low-ranking angel nervously practices his lines. A devil intern peeks in, wondering if this is the right place. The two are horrified to learn they're working together. A voice from a speaker suddenly calls them to attention. They've been chosen to act as parents in the human realm. They both protest, their artistic ambitions clearly clashing with the role. But the speaker offers them a deal, a 19-year gig for a promotion. The promise of career advancement gets their immediate attention, and the mention of bonus points seals the deal completely. Fired up, they vow to become the greatest actors in history. Back in the present, they sit in awkward silence at the dinner table. Jae-ik watches TV, completely oblivious to their inner turmoil. He finds a report on crashing stock prices absolutely hilarious. His laughter only makes his foster parents more uncomfortable. The father makes a desperate dash for the kitchen to escape. In his panic, he accidentally crushes a chair with his angelic strength. Jae-ik calmly declines the water as his mother sighs in frustration. The father struggles with the chair, calling his son considerate. Jae-ik compliments the fish cake, asking for it again tomorrow. His mother nervously admits it was delivery, but agrees to his request. He then cheerfully admits his room is a mess, baiting a classic mom lecture. But she just tells him to do as he pleases, as he leans in with a stern look. The foster mother can't even meet his gaze, clearly intimidated. His eyes glow as he demands her cooperation in maintaining their happy family. Later, his parents wash dishes in a deeply uncomfortable silence. The father whispers that their plans have failed, since their son now hits like a truck. But he smirks, revealing he also called for secret backup. She scoffs, certain that no amount of backup can handle him now. A sudden flash of red light startles her from her thoughts. The father grins with a truly unsettling demonic expression. She calls him out on the creepy face, which he claims was completely involuntary. The scene shifts to the pristine, sunlit halls of the heavenly realm. A winged figure descends gracefully from the sky. He unceremoniously drops the unconscious Hina onto the floor. She slowly begins to stir, battered and confused. Dazed, she wonders if she's died and gone to heaven. A voice confirms she's an angel who spent all her power, calling her a kind half-wit. She recognizes him as a first-class archangel, but he looks away awkwardly. A voice from the heavens corrects her. He's a demoted third-class angel. Brinkiel notes he hasn't fully fallen yet, making a terrible pun about his name. He's accused of selling human wishes, which he casually rebrands as white hat hacking. The heavenly voice gives him his new mission, guide Jae-ik to the light. Hina protests, insisting that the mission is still hers to complete. But the voice declares her a failure, terminating her mission for good. She looks up in horror, sentenced to the dreaded special prison. Back in the mortal realm, Jae-ik trudges along on his way to school. He resolves to live a normal life, believing he's finally protected his family. But a glance at the sky fills him with a sudden, unshakable sense of dread. He grimaces, sensing that another weird guy is on his way. A new figure descends a staircase of pure heavenly light. The next day, the sun shines brightly over Purgatory High. The newcomer introduces himself to the class with a wide grin. Brinkiel. He offers a friendly nickname, trying way too hard to be cool. He points to the only open seat, as Jae-ik's bad feelings are confirmed. Our boy can only sigh, realizing another one has arrived. Brinkiel leans over, asking Jae-ik if he's the one they're all looking for. Scarple glares from his seat, questioning who gave him permission to sit there. Brinkiel just smiles, completely unbothered by the demon's disapproval. He takes the seat anyway, declaring he's here for Jae-ik. Jae-ik immediately asks about Hina, but Brinkiel dismisses her as a failure. Scarple boasts that he destroyed her and sent her to hell. But Brinkiel calls his bluff, revealing he found her and sent her to Heaven's prison. The scene shifts to the special unit of the heavenly prison. Hina lies on a sunbed, complaining of extreme boredom. She laments her 20-year sentence. This prison looks suspiciously like a resort. A butler serves her a drink, calling it court-mandated Doom Perignon. She watches other angels play, trying to be grateful her sentence isn't worse. She sips her drink, wondering if she'll ever get out of this paradise prison. Back in class, the teacher warns everyone about his strict no-phone policy. Brinkiel mocks Scarpel's lie as Jae-ik realizes Hina is truly gone. He feels a strange pang, admitting to himself they were getting close. A sudden thought strikes Scarpel, a light bulb flickering above his head. He asks how an angel entered his realm, but Brinkiel claims to have a permit. Scarpel grows tense, asking if he's a fallen angel, which makes Brinkiel panic. He quickly checks a device, relieved to see his status is still safely in the blue. Scarpel sweats, realizing this new angel is even stranger than the last one. Brinkiel leans over, asking if they're sure Jae-ik is the target. They both observe him, noting he looks human but is far from a wuss. Brinkiel notes that despite his power, Jae-ik has a classic wuss face. But Jae-ik turns, calling them out for their very loud whispering. Scarpel warns that the boy's power is already highly activated and controlled. Brinkiel is intrigued, but Scarpel insists he's no match for the kid. He reminds the angel that Jae-ik defeated the destroyer Mercurochrome in a single strike. Undeterred, Brinkiel decides to start with a simple test of his own. His simple test involves pulling out a massive revolver in the middle of class. Scarpel grabs the weapon, trying to stop the angel's reckless plan. Jae-ik turns just as the gun is pointed in his direction. A gunshot echoes through the classroom, a flash of light and fire. The other students freeze in their seats, paralyzed by panic. Scarpel's eye twitches, clearly regretting this entire situation. Annoyed, Jae-ik complains the noise is distracting him from his reading. He opens his hand, revealing the bullet he caught and crushed into scrap. The celestial beings can only stare, one amused, the other horrified. The teacher bursts in, furious about the cell phone that just went off. Later in the school hallway, a new conflict is brewing. The reformed student is confronted by his old partner in crime. He's accused of going soft after being defeated by Jae-ik. The bully pats his head mockingly, but is told to stop. The reformed student looks up, declaring with conviction that Jae-ik is his new bro. His former friend fumes, feeling completely betrayed by this change of heart. He reminds him of their old pact, but is dismissed as trash. The bully can't believe the school's top dog is now hanging out with a nerd. As he threatens his former friend, Brinkiel calmly strolls into the scene. He puts an arm around the bully, asking what all the fuss is about. The reformed student stands his ground, telling him to stay out of it. The bully warns the newcomer not to meddle in a conflict between humans. Scarpel appears, explaining their long and storied history of being jerks together. Brinkiel just smiles, claiming that settling conflicts is his area of expertise. Brinkiel offers a surprisingly insightful analysis of the bully's crisis. The bully is amazed, begging the angel for a solution to his problem. Brinkiel gives a confident thumbs up, declaring the problem solved. But the bully erupts, realizing he's been given a lot of talk and no answers. Scarpel had already planted the seeds of betrayal in the second in command. He claims he was just offering an opportunity, not driving a wedge. Brinkiel decides to offer his own brand of empowerment to the other boy. Fueled by the angel's words, the school's number 2 gets ready to fight. The school's number 1 is equally provoked, preparing for a showdown. The two former friends are now locked in a battle for the top spot. Scarpel and Brinkiel watch the chaos they've created, looking quite pleased. Brinkiel finds the fight boring, a classic case of high school drama. Just then, Jae-ik walks down the hallway looking utterly exhausted. He sees the brawl, dismissing it as a childish scuffle. With a sigh, he grabs both of them, stopping the fight instantly. He lifts them effortlessly, telling them to stop blocking the hall. Their feet dangle helplessly, their fight completely forgotten. The two bullies can only stare, realizing they're floating in midair. Jae-ik then lectures the celestial beings for being too loud in class. Brinkiel watches him go, noting his power only appears when provoked. Scarpel admits his own attempts to trigger an awakening have failed. Brinkiel suggests the key is to threaten what Jae-ik holds most dear. Scarpel recalls Jae-ik's decision to accept his foster parents. A sinister smirk spreads across Brinkiel's face as a dark plan forms. The two bullies are horrified to hear him suggest kidnapping. Even Scarpel is shocked by the angel's truly demonic idea. Brinkiel explains that threatening his parents will force Jae-ik to act. Scarpel hesitates, wondering if hurting his family is crossing a line. But Brinkiel reminds him they aren't even his real parents. The bullies look on, realizing this angel is more evil than any devil. Brinkiel taunts the demon, asking if he wants to see those black wings sprout. Scarpel calls him out, saying his schemes are more evil than any devil's. Brinkiel plays it cool, claiming angels are far too pure for such things. Besides, he can't risk his corruption meter tipping into the red, so he makes Scarpel the captain, giving him full credit for the plan. The demon grits his teeth, realizing he's being played. He's just been volunteered to do all the heavy lifting. Meanwhile, Jae-ik walks home, completely unaware of the plot. He's just happy his grades are finally shooting up. He knows another weirdo has joined the class, but he has his family to ground him. He spots two strange figures vowing to protect his parents at all costs. He stops, politely asking the suspicious men for directions. One of them begins to point the way, seemingly harmless, but the other lunges forward, his arm transforming into a shadowy weapon. Jae-ik dodges effortlessly, his reflexes kicking in. The attacker lands, his demonic claws extended, surprised by the miss. He charges again, a blur of speed and dark energy. But our boy stands his ground, ready for the confrontation. A single punch connects, sending a shockwave through the air. Jae-ik looks at his hand, realizing he just touched the guy. The demon dissolves into nothing, completely obliterated by the single blow. The remaining thug clutches his helmet in absolute terror. Jae-ik casually flicks the demonic remains at the survivor. The impact sends him crashing into a wall as Jae-ik complains about his manners. He dusts himself off, noting the helmet was surprisingly fragile. The unmasked demon shudders, wondering why he wasn't warned about this power. Jae-ik just notes that the guy has a pretty busted face. He dismisses the creature as a low-level grunt. A helpful bestiary entry confirms his low-level status. The grunt is horrified. Realizing he's outmatched, the demon makes a strategic retreat. Jae-ik realizes the demons are heading for his home. He breaks into a desperate sprint toward his apartment. He races down the long, empty hallway. Bursting through the door, he calls out for his parents. But the apartment is completely silent and empty. He finds a note on the fridge, pinned by a dagger. Because magnets are for amateurs, the message is written in a strange, demonic script. As he tries to decipher it, the surviving grunt sneaks up behind him. The demon lunges, seeing a perfect opportunity to strike. But Jae-ik casually shatters his helmet with a backhand. He complains about the annoying bugs getting in. He looks at the residue, wondering if he left a window open. Another attacker charges from behind, brandishing a sword. Jae-ik holds up the note, asking the now dangling demon for a translation. The demon can only tremble in absolute terror. He quickly translates, "His parents have been kidnapped." Jae-ik's expression hardens as the truth sinks in. His eyes glow as he grabs the demon, demanding answers. A single punch reduces the second attacker to dust. Jae-ik sighs, annoyed he still doesn't know where they are. The first grunt gets up, but is immediately caught in a psychic grip. Jae-ik lifts him effortlessly, asking who is behind this. The demon laughs, claiming devils never betray their own. Jae-ik asks if it's Scarple, but the demon refuses to talk. He drops his backpack, his patience clearly at an end. He summons a multiple-choice quiz to get his answer. Apparently, torture has a game show format now. The demon confidently gives up Scarple's name. Jae-ik grits his teeth, his anger finally boiling over. He grabs the demon, betrayed by the one who acted like a friend. His eyes burn with rage, vowing never to forgive this betrayal. A wave of pure power erupts from Jae-ik's body. His eyes glow with rage as he seethes over Scarple's betrayal. But his anger is cut short by a sudden, crucial realization. He forgot to ask where his parents were being held. He scans the room, spotting the last surviving grunt hiding in the shadows. The reptilian demon gulps, knowing he's been caught. A psychic blast sends the creature flying across the room. Jae-ik lifts him with a wave of his hand, confirming the demon heard everything. He offers a simple deal. Talk, and no one else gets hurt. The demon panics, quickly sending the location to Jae-ik's phone. He then tries to give directions with all the clarity of a GPS in a tunnel. Jae-ik's aura flares as he tells the demon he knows what he wants. He clenches his fist, declaring they made a huge mistake. He roars that he will find Scarple and make him pay for this. But his mercy comes with a price. A full deep clean of the apartment. He turns to find the demon has vanished, leaving only a dark stain. Elsewhere, an abandoned building serves as the perfect villainous lair. Jae-ik's foster parents are tied up, surrounded by Ushijim's crew. Her men are confused, reminding her she's a loan shark, not a kidnap shark. Ushijim explains she received the order in a dream, controlled like a puppet. The foster parents beg to be dealt with quickly, before they can be rescued. They smile, realizing this is their one-way ticket out of their contract. Just then, the warehouse doors are slammed open with a deafening crash. Jae-ik bursts in, screaming that he's here to save his parents. His parents, however, look absolutely devastated by this rescue. From the shadows, Scarple emerges. Pleased the plan is working perfectly. Brinkiel is with him, impressed that Jae-ik arrived so quickly. The angel smiles, explaining that revenge is the ultimate human motivator. Scarple reminds him he's a devil, and taking orders from an angel is humiliating. Brinkiel calls it a redistribution of labor, which is corporate speak for, you do all the work. Ushijim grits her teeth, ready to face the incoming threat. But it's Jae-ik who steps forward, his focus absolute. He walks past her, his eyes fixed on his true target. With each step, the ground seems to tremble beneath his feet. Suddenly, a monstrous hand bursts from the concrete floor. It latches onto his ankle as he jumps back in surprise. He's thrown off balance, a new creature crawling from the floor. He realizes he's surrounded by an army of low-level grunts. The demonic creatures leap forward, ordered to block his path. One latches onto his back, a shrieking, unwanted passenger. Its red eyes gleam as it digs its claws into his shoulder. With a furious swat, Jae-ik sends the creature flying. Another one lunges as a dark pattern spreads across his arm. The creature opens its maw, ready to take a very personal bite. But its terrible breath is its undoing as Jae-ik swats it away. He recoils in disgust, having made contact with the slimy beast. Another grunt grabs his leg, trying to drag him down. He effortlessly kicks it away, sending it tumbling through the air. He finds himself riding a larger demon, complaining about its clinginess. With a roar, he lifts the creature into the air with his power. He brings his hands together, crushing the demon into nothing. He looks at the residue, annoyed by the persistent pests. But for everyone he defeats, more crawl from the ground. From above, Brinkiel questions the strategy of using such weak foes. Scarple explains that a swarm of gnats is far more irritating than a dragon. Down below, Jae-ik is already getting annoyed by the endless assault. The plan is to wear down his composure with sheer numbers. They hope to harass him until his anger finally explodes. But in a matter of seconds, Jae-ik stands over the remains, finished. Scarple can only stare, shocked that the swarm was defeated so easily. Ushijime trembles, realizing she's just a grunt in a much bigger, scarier game. A moment of clarity hits her as she questions her new career in kidnapping. She decides this path is not for her, vowing to snap out of it. But Scarple appears, offering a fresh dose of demonic influence. A dark aura consumes her, her brief redemption arc officially over. She transforms, now a horned creature ready to unleash hellfire. Meanwhile, Jae-ik's parents are now dangling helplessly from the ceiling. The transformed Ushijime gloats, promising them a slow and painful end. Her own men question the wisdom of provoking an already enraged demigod. Scarple explains the difference between a bad guy and an irredeemable one. It's not just about the crime, it's about adding pointless cruelty on top. Jae-ik's aura flares as he declares this act completely unforgivable. But his parents scream for him to stop, insisting they're perfectly fine. Even Ushijime's crew agrees that this has gone way too far. The lone shark is lost in her new role, unable to stop the corny villain lines. With glowing eyes, Jae-ik promises he will save them no matter what. His parents beg him not to, screaming they can just die and go home. Brinkiel is unimpressed, as Scarple panics that the boy is about to explode. The angel suggests a more direct threat might be needed to push him over the edge. Scarple is stunned by the sheer game-changing genius of the idea. He praises the angel's devilish plan, who quickly checks his corruption meter. Scarple decides to outsource the job, summoning a new monster to the fight. A massive tooth-filled worm erupts from the concrete floor. Jae-ik's eyes narrow, his focus now on the new, writhing threat. Ushijime has another crisis of conscience, realizing this is not what she signed up for. The giant worm looms over the dangling foster parents, ready to strike. But the two celestial beings are overjoyed, seeing their shuttle home has arrived. They see its gaping maw as a one-way tunnel straight to the underworld. The foster mother, however, points out a slight problem with that plan. Jae-ik launches himself forward, sprinting to stop the monster's attack. His parents scream for him to stay away, their escape plan ruined. But Jae-ik dashes forward, his eyes glowing with protective rage. He soars through the air, ignoring their desperate pleas to stop. With a powerful leap, he intercepts the massive demonic worm. Its jaws clamp down, but he holds them open with sheer force. The foster parents can only stare, baffled by their son's intervention. The monster's jaw cracks under the immense pressure of his grip. It writhes in agony, its body contorting in a silent scream. Spikes erupt from its skin as it struggles against his hold. The worm's horrifying maw opens wide, ready to swallow them whole. But Jae-ik's hands, now dark and clawed, hold the beast at bay. Surrounded by shadows, he complains about the monster's terrible breath. His glowing eyes are fixed on the two beings he calls family. He tells them their ride home has arrived, turning their words back on them. From the rafters, Scarple and Brinkiel watch in utter disbelief. The scene shifts to the heavenly prison, which looks suspiciously like a 5-star resort. Hina is served a gourmet salad she definitely did not order. She begs the butler to stop, but he insists he cannot. Her sentence, he explains, is excess happiness, and she must eat. Overwhelmed, she knows she has to escape to protect Jae-ik. She pulls a single strand of hair, preparing a classic escape plan. With perfect timing, she calls the butler back to her table. She points to the hair in her salad, feigning disgust. As the staff panics, she uses the chaos to make her escape. She sprints toward the glowing barrier that marks the prison's edge. With a determined look, she gathers what little power she has left. She asks for forgiveness, forming a blade of pure light. A single slash cuts a clean line through the energy field. She slips through the opening, finally breaking free. Sprouting her wings, she soars into the sky, ready to return to the fight. She knows breaking out is wrong, but it's for a greater good. Back at the warehouse, the final act is about to begin. His foster parents are stunned, asking what he could possibly mean. Jae-ik declares that their lives can end here, and they can finally go home. He explains that keeping them here only puts them in danger. With a heavy heart, he thanks them for 19 years of care. He smiles through his tears, grateful they were his parents. The two celestial beings are moved, their own emotions finally breaking through. He roars at them to leave to go back to their own realms. From above, Brinkiel notes he's offering a merciful end. Almost angelic, really. Jae-ik offers the monster's maw as their express ticket home. Ushijim has a moment of clarity, horrified by what she's done. But the demon's influence takes hold. Her redemption arc cut brutally short. The foster mother watches, her expression turning grim. She and her husband share a look, having made a final choice. The foster father screams that Jae-ik is his son, no matter what. The mother agrees, begging to stay by his side forever. Jae-ik falters, his resolve shaken by their sudden loyalty. He cries out their names, his heart breaking all over again. Even the possessed loan shark is moved to tears by the family drama. Jae-ik's expression hardens, his plan completely changed. He declares it's time for retribution as the monster shatters beneath him. He leaps from the dissolving creature, complaining about the bumpy ride. He lands on the ground, his purpose now crystal clear. His eyes glow, locking onto the one who threatened his family. He unleashes a furious punch, screaming that it tried to eat his parents. The blow connects with a massive concussive impact. The giant worm recoils, stunned by the sheer force of the attack. Jae-ik winds up again, ready to finish what he started. Another punch lands, a punishment for almost tearing his family apart. The monster reels, stunned by his protective rage. Jae-ik unleashes a furious barrage of insults and punches. From above, Scarpel laments the cost of his disposable monster. The creature's body begins to crack under the relentless assault. A final powerful blow sends the massive worm flying. He stands firm, a warning to never threaten his family again. With the monster defeated, he turns to the next problem. Ushijim makes a desperate and very undignified escape attempt. Her tough facade shatters, replaced by a tearful plea for mercy. Jae-ik approaches, ready to deliver justice for the kidnapping. Even her own men agree that she is in fact the villain here. The loan shark trembles as the weight of her actions sinks in. She finally accepts that she is completely out of her league. But Brinkiel appears, offering her a second chance at relevance. He offers her a taste of his power to even the odds. A wave of angelic energy flows into the terrified loan shark. She screams as the overwhelming power consumes her body. The angel watches, perhaps a bit surprised by the result. He quickly checks his meter, pulling back before he falls from grace. A new empowered figure lands before awaiting Jae-ik. It's Ushijim, transformed by the combined celestial power. Two sharp horns now sprout from her head. She revels in her newfound strength, ready for a real fight. But Jae-ik is done with the monologues and takes his stance. His eyes glow, promising to make her pay for her crimes. He clenches his fist, gathering a wave of concussive force. She scoffs, daring him to bring his best shot. He moves in a blur, his arm a streak of motion. A single, devastating punch connects with her midsection. She slams into the wall, admitting that one definitely hurt. But Brinkiel appears behind him, offering a friendly message. He cheerfully informs Jae-ik that he locked his front door for him. Jae-ik is confused by the gesture but offers a quiet thanks. The angel checks his meter, relieved his good deed kept him from falling. He then turns his attention to the defeated loan shark. With a smile, he offers her another dose of angelic power. Ushijim roars, feeling twice as strong and ready for round 2. She gets in Jae-ik's face, boasting that she might be stronger now. A powerful punch connects squarely with our boy's jaw. She celebrates landing the first successful strike of the fight. Jae-ik, however, looks more annoyed than hurt by the blow. Meanwhile, his parents are still just hanging out, wondering about dinner. But the punch had an effect. Jae-ik's vision begins to blur. Ushijim mocks him, telling him to give up his title. Jae-ik looks up, noting her complete lack of remorse. He grits his teeth, recalling a lesson from history class. He declares the only cure for peacebreakers is a thorough beatdown. The first punch is for his mother, as Ushijim boasts about her resilience. The second is for his father, a blow she can't seem to block. A powerful kick is dedicated to his friend, Henna. From the rafters, the celestial beings watch the one-sided fight. Scarpel explains that every move creates a vacuum around Jae-ik, a vortex of power that would crush anyone who gets too close. But Ushijim is completely oblivious, celebrating her dodging skills. Scarpel questions the power-up, but Brinkiel blames her ignorance. She continues to taunt him, completely unaware of the danger she's in. Jae-ik finally lands a solid blow, ready to teach her a final lesson. His expression hardens, his patience completely gone. The impact sends the loan shark flying, slamming her into the ground. Defeated, she finally feels a shred of remorse for her actions. Ushijim realizes she's just a minor villain meant to be crushed. Her men watch, concerned their boss is losing his true self. Jae-ik struggles, his vision blurring as he fails to land a hit. The loan shark declares her old soft self is gone for good. She boasts of being a top-tier, bloodthirsty murder machine, then strikes a disturbingly cute pose, undermining the whole vibe. Her crew is relieved, glad their punchable boss is still in there. Jae-ik has had enough, dashing forward to end the bizarre act. He unleashes a massive blast of green energy from his hand. The beam of power soars across the warehouse. Ushijim casually leans aside, mocking his terrible aim. The blast just grazes her head, leaving a fresh bald spot. His parents watch, wondering why he's struggling with a wuss. Ushijim prepares to unleash her ultimate killer move. A technique born from her sturdy body and intrepid soul, she charges forward with a strange, determined waddle, but Jae-ik simply trips her as she runs past. She tumbles to the ground, complaining that he stepped on her foot. She claims the fall was a feint to get closer for an attack. A flurry of punches follows, a move she calls the Ushijimsi roll. The final blow connects squarely with Jae-ik's jaw. She immediately hops away, calling her insurance agent mid-fight. With confirmation that her injury is covered, she attacks again. An insurance fraud kick sends our boy flying backward. Jae-ik is thrown across the room by the sheer audacity of the movie. Ushijim celebrates her graduation to full-blown insurance fraudster. Her men cheer her on, already asking for a cut of the profits. Jae-ik wipes his face, wondering what he did to deserve this. The loan shark pauses, realizing he's actually done nothing wrong. In fact, she's the one who has been tormenting him all along. She's filled with a sudden, profound sense of clarity. Ushijim declares she can see everything, her confidence soaring. Jae-ik has a revelation of his own. His glasses were the problem. The celestial observers realize his awakening is improving his senses. Brinkiel checks his meter, noting he's on the brink of falling. Classic. Ushijim scoffs, accusing him of making excuses for his weakness. She compares him to a gamer blaming a faulty joystick for losing, or one who insists they'd win with their own high-end gear. She admits she knows all the excuses because she's used them all. She prepares to deliver a punch with a legally questionable name. But with his vision restored, Jae-ik can see all her weak points. A helpful scan reveals her body is just one giant walking vulnerability. Undeterred, she charges forward with a furious roar. Her fist flies, aiming to end the fight with a single blow. But Jae-ik catches the punch with effortless grace. He stops her attack cold, his expression unreadable. He calmly tells her to stop this now. His glowing eyes deliver a final, chilling warning. Ushijim freezes, sensing the deadly intent behind his words. But her borrowed power overrides her fear, and she attacks again. Jae-ik raises a hand, his patience finally gone. A single, powerful slap connects with her face. She's sent flying, relieved it wasn't a fatal blow. Her men are just glad she's finally getting some sense knocked into her. The slap sends her rocketing out of the warehouse roof. She soars through the night sky like a human cannonball. She crashes straight through a neighboring office building. Her trajectory finally ends as she plummets to the street below. She carves a trench in the asphalt, still not stopping. The loan shark is left embedded in a wall, completely defeated. Her crew watches as Ushijim calls her mom, playing it very cool. She declares herself a hero, a true master of mental gymnastics. From the rafters, Brinkiel offers some very sarcastic applause. Jae-ik turns his attention to the remaining celestial observers. The angel raises a hand, preparing for his own little test. He believes Jae-ik has finally come into his full power. His eyes glow, confident he can handle the awakened boy. But Jae-ik just looks annoyed, his patience completely gone. Brinkiel summons a beam of pure heavenly judgment. A massive ball of light forms in the sky above. The pillar of energy descends with blinding speed. Jae-ik looks up, bracing for the divine attack. The beam slams into the warehouse, engulfing our boy. He's pinned to the ground, crushed by the light's immense weight. He struggles, unable to bear the holy pressure. Brinkiel explains that devil's blood cannot withstand such purity. The light intensifies, a blinding glare from the heavens. Even Scarple is caught in the blast, shielding his eyes. But a new silhouette appears within the blinding light. Her eyes glow with a familiar, powerful white light. The light fades, revealing Hina has returned from her prison. She holds the beam of judgment, stopping it with her bare hands. With a snap, she redirects the energy, freeing the foster parents. She lands, demanding to know what Scarple has done. The foster parents are free, but not exactly grateful for the rescue. Brinkiel notes Jae-ik's weakness proves his evil side is stronger. He casually touches the beam, completely unaffected by its power, then promptly shoves Scarple's face directly into the light. Hana looks around, realizing Jae-ik has vanished in the chaos. Scarple is left writhing on the ground, consumed by holy fire. A flashback shows a blue-haired man being pulled into a strange portal. A brilliant flash of light erupts from the ground. A subway train crashes violently into a station platform. The scene shifts to a quiet, ordinary subway station. Commuters wait patiently as the train doors hiss open. The blue-haired man stumbles out looking disheveled and humiliated. He breathes a sigh of relief, thinking he's escaped a trip to hell. To avoid paying, he tries to sneak through the ticket gate behind someone. The other passenger gives him a withering glare for the attempt. The blue-haired man sweats, his cool facade beginning to crack. Suddenly, another glowing portal opens right beneath his feet. He panics, realizing he's crossed some kind of cosmic line. He's dragged down into the floor as the other passenger watches. As he's pulled under, a small locket slips from his grasp. The silver locket tumbles through the air. It clatters onto the station floor, a final memento. The locket reveals a gauge, its needle dangerously close to the red. The onlookers can only stare, completely baffled by the scene. The first passenger delivers a very literal PSA about fare dodging. Back in the present, Jae-ik is sent flying by the beam of light. He crashes hard, the impact rattling his entire body. The holy energy pushes him through the very fabric of reality. The ground rumbles, heralding his arrival in a new place. A massive explosion of light marks his sudden appearance. Jae-ik lands on his feet, battered but conscious. He looks around, spotting the Eiffel Tower and wondering if he's in Jeju. He realizes the beam pushed him through the earth, concluding he's in hell. He accepts his fate, covered in dirt and ready for the underworld. But a familiar voice suddenly calls out his name. A new, pale-skinned figure greets him with a fanged smile. The woman mocks his geography skills as Jae-ik demands to know who she is. She calls herself an angel, but Jae-ik's memory returns with a jolt. He panics, his plan to run west from Paris earning a look of pity. Luckily for him, she just happens to have 2 plane tickets ready to go. She ushers him along, reminding him that his parents are still in danger. Back in Korea, the pillar of heavenly judgment still burns brightly. A crowd gathers below, their phones out to capture the divine spectacle. Hina realizes she's been left to handle the cleanup all by herself. She begins damage control, giving one man a memory-cleansing scalp massage. The crowd disperses, suddenly convinced it was just a trick of the light. Scarpel appears, but he's not exactly forthcoming with information. Deciding to handle one crisis at a time, she turns to the pillar of light. She launches into the sky, leaving a very unhelpful Scarpel on the ground. With a determined look, she races toward the source of the beam. She flies alongside the massive column of pure heavenly energy. She pauses, a look of dawning recognition on her face. This isn't just any light. It's the power of a first-class archangel. The scene flashes back to Brinkiel's very undignified fall from grace. He plummets straight into hell, landing before a massive throne. He lands with a thud, taking a seat he definitely wasn't invited to. The demon Pushingit greets him, mocking his demotion to 3rd class. Brinkiel begs for help, claiming his fall was just a silly mistake. But Pushingit explains there's no deal for an angel who's already fallen. The angel's desperate pleas are met with a wall of demonic silence. He explains that in hell, a fallen angel is just damaged goods. Brinkiel makes a last-ditch offer, promising an army of angel grunts. But the demon reminds him that helping angels isn't really his thing. The angel's usual silver tongue seems to have lost its charm. Pushingit tells him to enjoy his new throne, a permanent seat in hell. He then stands, pointing out that unlike Brinkiel, he isn't trapped. Pushingit offers him a consolation prize, unlimited TV for the next 1,000,000 years. Brinkiel stares at his welcome packet, refusing to accept this fate. The scene shifts to a plane soaring high above the clouds. Inside, Jae-ik thanks his mysterious companion for the new suit. She's thrilled about the flight, admitting she used to have her own wings. She then orders them both a meal, a very specific request for ramyun. Jae-ik is stunned to see a gourmet meal appear on a plane. As he eats, she tells him he must learn to embrace his immense power. But she warns him never to be complacent, to always desire more. A solid life lesson over instant noodles. Her eyes glow as she promises to awaken the desires within him. The scene cuts back to the fiery, desolate landscape of hell. Brinkiel is still trapped on his throne, already bored out of his mind. He grits his teeth, knowing his angel status is on the line. He turns from the local programming, deciding to check on the human realm. The screen flickers with static as he tries to get a signal. He finally gets a clear picture, realizing Jae-ik is his ticket to redemption. But his plan hits a snag as he spots the stranger sitting next to our boy. A close-up reveals her pale skin and a pair of sharp fangs. With a sinister smile, she finally reveals her name. She is Lucifer, a being with no class and no affiliation. Jae-ik can only gasp, the name hitting him with its full weight. He tries to process this, asking if she's a famous TikToker. He even recalls a popular song, much to her visible annoyance. She tells him it doesn't matter if he knows her or not. What matters is that she's here to give him a spear and a shield. Jae-ik is taken aback by the sudden, cryptic offer. He asks which video game she's talking about, completely missing the point. She changes the subject, offering him more chocolate instead. But he's still confused, asking why a stranger is being so kind. He explains he's done with destiny and already has Hina on his side. Lucifer dismisses Hannah, claiming a guardian angel can only protect him. She claims she's different, offering to help him achieve his true desires. She offers him the drink, urging him to embrace his inner wants. Her eyes glow as she whispers for him to want more, to desire everything. The plane continues its journey high above the clouds. Back in hell, Brinkiel watches in horror, realizing who is with Jae-ik. He panics, certain the boy is about to fall to temptation. The pun was probably unintentional. Meanwhile, Hannah spots the source of the disturbance in the sky. She flies toward the massive pillar of heavenly judgment. The beam originates from a massive, floating celestial structure. It appears to be some kind of massive, skybound weapon. A hand inside the structure adjusts a control dial. Hina knocks on the cockpit window, trying to get the pilot's attention. A pink-haired woman opens the hatch, surprised by the visitor. Hina politely asks her to turn off the city-destroying beam of light. The pillar of judgment finally dissipates into the clouds. The woman apologizes, admitting she just forgot it was on. Hina suddenly recognizes her as a first-class archangel named Misha, but Misha explains she's retired, living a quiet life among the clouds. Hana asks if she's also searching for the legendary Abraxas. Misha scoffs, claiming she doesn't believe in legends, just dragons. She explains she only sent the beam because another senior angel requested it. She has no interest in Jae-ik, claiming she doesn't even know his name. In fact, there's only one person she's truly looking for. Her eyes glow as she vows to find and destroy the embodiment of evil. Hannah looks up at the ship's scope and Misha offers her a look. It's a legendary scope that can find anyone on the ground. Hina immediately asks if they can use it to find Jae-ik. Misha is shocked, certain a human would have been vaporized by the blast. But Hina knows it'll take more than that to stop our boy. Misha's interest is suddenly piqued by the boy's impossible survival. Hina gets a very bad feeling about this sudden, intense curiosity. The scene shifts to a quiet hospital late in the evening. A group of thugs marches down the hall, their leader looking grim. In a hospital bed lies Ushi-jim, the loan shark, looking worse for wear. Her crew bursts in, ignoring the staff's pleas for absolute rest. The leader leans over her, demanding to know what happened to his boss. He assumes the worst, but the doctor calmly explains she arrived by taxi. In fact, she paid for a luxury rest package, complete with lullabies. This is less of a coma, more of a spa day. The thug threatens the doctor, insisting his boss is now a vegetable. He mourns his fallen idol, who is currently snoring very, very loudly. He flashes back to their rise to power, led by her unique vision, a vision that mostly involved baiting much stronger people into hitting her. Her strategy of getting punched was apparently legendary. It even led to the takedown of their biggest rivals, the Twin Dragon clan. He reflects on the legend of his boss, a true master of self-harm. Her crew bows in respect, praising her commitment to the grift. She dismisses them, groaning about the pain, truly an inspiration to us all. Another group of thugs is shown, moved to tears by their own leader's sacrifice. Back in the present, the lead thug knows this time is different. He vows to find whoever did this and make them pay for their actions. Back on the ship, Misha asks if the hospitalized woman is Jae-ik's friend. Hina explains she's just his guardian, worried about the dark forces around him. Misha spots a man in a suit, but Hannah dismisses him as just some devil. The Archangel does some quick calculations on her phone. She realizes the beam would have sent him to the other side of the world. With a new destination, the ship rockets toward French airspace. Misha scans the ground below, searching for any sign of the boy. She offers Hina a stern warning. Don't get too attached to your charge. Hina looks down, the weight of that advice hitting her hard. The scope finally locks on, revealing Jae-ik is on a plane. Misha smiles, pleased that her search was so successful, but her expression shifts as she realizes a terrible coincidence. Her true target, Lucifer, is sitting right next to the boy. A powerful aura erupts as she reveals her true name. Michael. She draws a massive sword, crackling with heavenly energy. With a roar, she vows to punish Lucifer once and for all. Elsewhere, a winged pocket watch soars through the night. It flies over the city, a message from a fallen angel. The watch lands perfectly in Scarpel's waiting hand. He opens it to hear a familiar and very desperate voice. It's Brinkiel calling from his new, very permanent home in hell. He explains his mission has failed, and he's fallen from grace. Scarpel mocks him for getting himself kicked out of heaven. But Brinkiel reveals Jae-ik has met Lucifer, stunning the demon, and that the Archangel Michael was the one who sent the beam. The real problem, he explains, is that Michael has found Lucifer. He recalls a past encounter with the legendary Archangel. She saw right through him, calling him a celestial fence-sitter. She spoke of another angel just like him, one who had fallen, and she vowed that if she ever found him, it would be his end. Brinkiel sweats, remembering the chilling weight of her words. She warned him that she was watching his every move. Her justice, she declared, makes no exceptions for anyone. which is angel speak for "I will absolutely destroy you." Back in hell, he admits he's never known such fear. He reveals that Michael has been hunting Lucifer for ages. Scarpel realizes their meeting will spark an all-out war. High above, Michael streaks across the sky, sword in hand. On the plane, Lucifer's eyes flash, sensing the approaching doom. The plane is rocked by a sudden, violent turbulence. Outside, a spear of pure light streaks past the wing. Michael glares, realizing her target has sensed her approach. Inside, Lucifer makes a subtle, almost dismissive gesture. The plane swerves, narrowly dodging another explosive blast. The passengers panic as the pilot announces the turbulence. Lucifer realizes she's been exposed for far too long. Michael raises her sword, crackling with divine lightning. Her eyes glow, ready to bring the entire plane down. But Henna appears, shielding the plane with her own body. Michael's gaze remains cold, her resolve unshaken. She brushes Hina aside, declaring that justice requires sacrifice. Hina is horrified by the Archangel's ruthless logic. Michael warns her not to get attached, calling this personal. Back in hell, Brinkule explains the true danger of that spear. He warns that if it hits the ground, it will cause a massive explosion. Scarpel realizes this means a little Armageddon is imminent, an event that will wipe out over a third of all life on Earth. He reveals this is how the dinosaurs died. Lucifer dodged the spear. Scarpel smirks, seeing this as a win-win for the underworld. Brinkule sighs, forgetting he was talking to a literal devil. Scarpel asks if there's a way to boost those extinction numbers. He's thrilled, seeing a fast track to a major promotion. Brinkule offers a deal, promising a secret for his help. His watch can measure the probability of the spear hitting. He orders Scarpel to intervene and stop the impact. The demon sprouts his wings, ready to accept the mission. He's willing to trade a small apocalypse for a much bigger one. High above, Michael prepares to unleash her ultimate weapon. She launches herself from the plane, hurling the spear toward Earth. Lucifer rises, telling Jayik she has an uninvited guest. Outside, the Archangel Michael glides toward the plane's fuselage. She draws her massive sword, its blade crackling with divine power. Michael bursts into the cabin, much to the flight attendant's horror. Her eyes burn with rage as she screams Lucifer's name. Lucifer greets her old acquaintance with a casual, fanged smile. But the Archangel is not here for a friendly reunion. She swings her blade, cutting straight through the pleasantries. Lucifer dodges, her body dissolving into a cloud of shadows. She taunts Michael, explaining she can go anywhere she pleases. The Archangel swings again, vowing to hunt her to the ends of the earth. With a final taunt, Lucifer's form dissipates from the plane. She reforms outside, revealing a set of shadowy, spider-like wings. Elsewhere, Scarpel rockets through the sky on his own urgent mission. He checks the watch, shocked the impact probability has soared to 79%. The Spear of Judgment continues its fiery descent toward the planet. The needle hits 85%, a clear and terrifying sign of impending doom. The weapon streaks toward a snow-capped mountain range below. Scarpel dives, gathering his own power to intercept the attack. He sprouts a pair of brilliant, almost angelic-looking wings. With a surge of power, he snatches the spear from the air. He sighs in relief, seeing the probability drop back down to 50%. Back on the plane, Michael makes another very dramatic exit. She soars into the sky, ready to confront her ancient rival. Jayik, meanwhile, has a very important question for the flight staff. He's devastated to learn his ramyon has been officially canceled. Outside, the two ancient beings clash in a flurry of sparks. Lucifer tries to reason with her, but Michael's rage is absolute. Suddenly, a third figure appears, stopping their blades cold. It's Jayik, floating in midair, demanding they stop so he can eat. The two ancient beings stare, wondering how a human can just float in midair. Jayik, however, is just annoyed, telling them to stop making a fuss in the aisle. Lucifer explains that his power is far beyond human, a level even archangels can't reach without wings. Our boy is just confused, wondering why he can't feel the floor beneath his feet. He looks down, and the reality of his situation finally hits him. His cool composure shatters into pure, unadulterated panic. As he plummets, Lucifer notes that he's clearly not at his full capacity yet. She moves to save her friend, but Michael intercepts, questioning the very concept. As their blades clash, Lucifer boasts that Jayik will soon be her devoted follower. She offers a confident wink, daring the Archangel to bet against her. Michael's eyes glow with rage, threatening to silence that wicked tongue for good. Meanwhile, Jayik continues his very long, very undignified fall from the sky. A streak of light flashes past him as he tumbles through the air. It's Hina, swooping in to catch him just in the nick of time. He slowly comes to, recognizing his guardian angel has returned. With her charge safe, Henna flies them both away from the chaos. Back in the sky, Michael prepares another powerful, sweeping attack. She lunges forward, her eyes burning with righteous fury. Her blade meets Lucifer's defense in a blinding clash of power. Lucifer blocks the blow, her expression still cool and collected. Holy energy crackles against the shadowy blade, a stalemate in the sky. The impact erupts in a massive explosion of light and dark energy. Michael throws a projectile, which Lucifer narrowly dodges. The Archangel's expression is one of grim, unwavering determination. Lucifer reforms, admitting she was right to keep her distance from the zealous angel. Hannah arrives with Jae-ik, scolding Michael for her reckless attacks. She sets him on a cloud, a solid surface to calm his nerves. He's grateful. She's just stating facts. With Jae-ik safe, Hannah flies off to confront the Archangel directly. She holds out the spear, offering to return it if Michael ends this fight. Michael, now blindfolded, takes the weapon, declaring her justice is back in her hands. Michael grips her spear, ready for the final blow. But Lucifer taunts her, asking for mercy for old time's sake. Michael denies they were ever friends, her patience gone. Jae-ik and Hannah watch, confused by this sudden revelation. A flashback reveals the truth behind their bitter rivalry. It began long ago with a young Lucifer and Michael. Lucifer was an ambitious rookie, eager to prove his worth. He dreamed of becoming strong enough to defeat all evil. He looked up to Michael, seeing her as his ultimate role model. He even asked to be her student, full of pure admiration. Michael was impressed by his drive and unwavering passion. She offered him a path to greatness, practice justice. The key, she explained, was to defeat the strongest evils. There were no shortcuts, only a brutal, thankless grind. She promised to help him if he ever got in over his head. His pure desire for justice had completely won her over. For a time, they fought side by side against the darkness. They were partners, even friends, sharing victories together. She pointed him toward his final test, a legendary dragon. He thanked her for her guidance, promising to never forget. But as they fought, something began to change within him. Back in the present, Jae-ik is stunned by their history. Michael screams it was all a lie, a hoax from the start. Lucifer's form dissolves, admitting he pretended to be weak. She reminds him of what happened after that final battle. In the past, she asked if he felt his rank increasing. But the power he felt was something else entirely. A dark, manic energy consumed him as he fell from grace. Michael could only watch in horror, realizing her mistake. A dark orb reflects his new sinister silhouette. A single finger points to the sky, a symbol of his defiance. Lucifer emerges, declaring his heavenly shackles are finally broken. He explains that with her help, he conquered the dragon and its binding spell. Michael can only stare, the weight of her mistake finally dawning on her. He turns away, ready to embrace a new freedom beyond good and evil. With a final wave, he tells her to let heaven know he's officially a freelancer. Back in the present, Michael lunges, screaming for him to stop his jabbering. Lucifer blocks her attack, asking if she wants to hear the same old story again. He dodges a beam of light, noting it feels like the brink of doom. Elsewhere, Scarpel hears the word brink and panics, seeing the danger meter at 60%. He realizes the little Armageddon is about to unfold any minute now. A streak of dark energy cuts through the sky as he races to intervene. In the past, Michael sits alone, realizing she was completely fooled. She felt her pride shattered, her soul broken into a million pieces. But after picking herself up, she made a solemn vow. Her eye glows with resolve as she swears to find and destroy him. Jae-ik questions her motives, but Hannah tries to pull him away. Michael explains that for an archangel, dignity and pride are everything. Jae-ik can't believe this is all over her blasted pride. He stomps his foot, kicking up a cloud of dust from the cloud. Yes, really. With a roar, he declares he's had enough and launches himself forward. His foot pushes off, a blur of motion and raw power. He rockets toward the two ancient beings as Hina screams for him to stop. He looks surprised, perhaps not fully in control of his own momentum. He flies between their blades, stopping the fight with his own body. A beam of redirected energy shoots harmlessly into the sky. The two fighters are stunned, as Lucifer notes he knows how to fuel a fight. Hannah is left behind, horrified that he just flew off to escalate things. But Jae-ik is now rocketing into space, unable to control his own power. He screams in terror, realizing he's going way too fast. Jae-ik drifts helplessly in the silent vacuum of space. Meanwhile, the spear of judgment plummets back toward the earth. It streaks through the atmosphere, a harbinger of destruction. The weapon is just moments away from impact, but Scarpel appears, snatching it from the air with a furious cry. He breathes a sigh of relief, having narrowly averted a little Armageddon. With a mighty heave, he sends the spear rocketing back into the sky. He takes flight, now wielding the very weapon he just stopped. But a figure in the distance suddenly catches his eye. He recognizes the silhouette of the one and only Lucifer. The demon's eyes widen, realizing his ultimate idol is right there. It turns out Scarpel is less of a villain and more of a superfan. A flashback reveals Lucifer has been his phone's wallpaper for a long time. He's been following his idol's career with #level devotion. All this time, he's dreamed of becoming a great devil just like him. Overcome with emotion, he flies up and offers himself to his hero. Lucifer turns, and Scarpel immediately regrets his choice of words. He quickly changes his offer, presenting the spear instead. He gushes about being a fan, asking for an autograph in exchange for the weapon. Lucifer accepts the gift, then asks for the starstruck demon's name. Scarpel stands at attention, completely floored by the personal recognition. Back in orbit, J-Ik continues his unplanned spacewalk. He begins to fall, pulled back into the planet's gravity. But he stops his descent, finally gaining control of his flight. He looks down, his expression now cold and determined. A voice explains that in space, no one can hear you monologue. A glowing silhouette, he rockets back toward the fight below. He re-enters the atmosphere like a human meteor. Michael senses this, furious that her spear has been touched. Lucifer holds the weapon, offering a surprisingly peaceful truce. Michael seethes, questioning his right to wield justice. But Lucifer counters that justice is defined by its wielder. He offers a chilling, confident smile. He swings the spear as Michael dodges the attack. The Archangel's eyes glow, her resolve unbroken. Lucifer moves in a blur, a shadow against the sky. Michael closes the distance, ready to strike him down. She hovers above, a vision of righteous fury. Their weapons meet in a deafening, powerful clash. She warns he can't handle the spear, but he's certain he can. Michael unleashes a flurry of attacks, her form a blur. She spins through the air, a whirlwind of divine power. Lucifer offers to drop the spear, right onto the planet below. She grips her sword, vowing to end him before he can. But a new figure rockets toward them from above. It's J-Ik, screaming that he's finally mastered flying. Took him long enough. He flies between them as they both prepare to deliver justice. Lucifer turns the spear on Michael, ready to give her a taste of her own medicine. The Archangel is enraged by his mockery of the word. She raises her sword, preparing to block the incoming blow. But J-Ik throws himself in the way, taking the full impact. His eyes widen in shock as the holy weapon pierces him. The light fades from his eyes, his body going limp. He plummets from the sky, impaled by the spear of judgment. He falls toward the mountains, a silent, tragic descent. His face is still, his consciousness completely gone. Hannah dives after him, desperate to stop his fall. She races toward him as Scarpel watches from below. The demon realizes with horror that the spear cannot touch the ground. Hannah looks down, confused by Scarpel's sudden panic. Scarpel dives, his claws outstretched to intercept the falling spear. But another hand grips the weapon, crackling with holy energy. Scarpel breathes a sigh of relief, certain he's averted disaster. He plans to deliver the spear to Lucifer, but then he glances down. He's horrified to find he's only holding the shaft. The spearhead is gone. He realizes Hannah wasn't saving J-Ik, she was just retrieving the weapon. High above, Michael looks on, completely baffled by this turn of events. She turns, realizing the essence of her justice has vanished. Hannah soars downward, her wings of light spread wide. She declares that she is the only one who can truly protect him. Her purpose is clear, to shield him from all harm. She recalls her most important duty as his guardian angel. A guardian who fails, she believes, is unworthy of the title. With grim determination, she promises to save him no matter the cost. She catches his unconscious body, a holy sigil glowing behind her. She looks down at the wound where the spear pierced his chest. But she's stunned to find the wound has healed and the spearhead is gone. From above, Michael finally understands what has happened. She realizes J-Ik's body has completely absorbed her divine power. Elsewhere, a desperate voice calls out from the depths of hell. It's Brinkiel, still trapped on his throne, screaming for Scarpel. He panics, knowing he'll be blamed if a little Armageddon begins. Suddenly, he feels a strange sensation as his bindings begin to crack. The golden chains shatter, releasing him in a burst of dark energy. He falls to his knees, wondering how the spell broke on its own. He realizes the power of judgment has weakened as the ground rumbles. A massive pillar of fire erupts from the lava below. A fiery demon emerges, roaring that hell's restraining power is fading. Brinkiel realizes Michael, the one who imprisoned this beast, is now weaker. A new archdevil, Manhwa the Great, rises from the flames, finally free. The archdevil roars, telling Brinkiel to warn his former captor. He stomps the ground, declaring that vengeance will be his. With a furious cry, he calls for all the damned to rise up. A hand claws its way out of the fiery ground. Brinkiel pulls himself up, noting he almost fell off the brink. Yes, he really went there. The souls of the condemned rise around him in a fiery torrent. Angelmois unleashes them, telling their rage to guide their way. Back in the sky, Michael readies her sword to finish Lucifer. But Lucifer nervously calls for a timeout. She attacks, declaring justice doesn't take breaks. He dodges, telling her to look behind her for a surprise. Michael halts her attack, her eyes widening in disbelief. A massive, stone-like titan with glowing eyes looms over them. The Titan roars, recognizing his two greatest nemeses. Lucifer begins a dramatic monologue about humanity's fear of giants. Michael calls him out, and he admits he gets weird around Titans. The Titan winds up for a massive punch, screaming insults. Lucifer dodges the blow, commenting on the Titan's foul mouth. He tries to reason with the giant, reminding him of their past. He clarifies they were once on the same side of evil. The Titan responds with a massive wave of fire, clearly not in a talking mood. A massive blue dragon appears as Michael realizes her power is fading. Lucifer asks if all their prisoners are free, but she says it's only their shared ones. Back in hell, Angelmois revels in his newfound freedom. But he declares this is no blessing. They were all wronged. He vows they will seek compensation for their unjust imprisonment. Elsewhere, Brinkiel rises from the ground, recalling Angelmois's past. The Titan claps as Michael complains that starting Armageddon is her job. Lucifer appears, revealing Angelmois is leading an invasion. Michael wonders if he was their prisoner, but Lucifer thinks others are involved. Lucifer offers some unsolicited grooming advice to the roaring Titan. The giant responds with a massive, world-shaking punch. His fist descends with the force of a meteor. The impact shatters a mountain, leaving a gaping crater. Lucifer suggests they team up just for old time's sake. Michael agrees to postpone her vengeance for a moment, but she refuses to form an alliance with an evildoer. She flies toward the Titan, declaring she doesn't need justice to judge him. Her own resolve will be more than enough to win this fight. With a determined cry, she charges into the fray alone. The Titan catches a bolt of lightning she hurls at him. She lands a powerful slash across the back of his neck. The Titan complains as Lucifer notes that giants make people do weird things. He realizes that if Michael is handling the Titan, that leaves him to deal with the massive dragon all by himself. Elsewhere, Hina holds the unconscious Jae-ik as a new threat lands. She's horrified, knowing these creatures should be locked away in hell. She desperately tries to wake Jae-ik, pleading with him to get up. In a dark void, a voice asks who he is, calling him her baby. He argues he's old enough for a license, not a lullaby. A hooded figure appears, offering him a chance brought by fate. Jae-ik stares, a sudden impossible thought crossing his mind. He asks with a trembling voice if she is his birth mother. He looks on, a single angelic wing forming in the darkness. But the figure corrects him. She's not his mother, she's spicy pork. The vision clarifies with a flash of light. A spicy pork rice bowl. The words echo in his mind as he remains unconscious. He suddenly springs up, screaming the name of his favorite meal. Hannah is stunned it worked as Jae-ik tries to explain his dream. But she cuts him off, knowing they don't have time for dream analysis. She points to the horizon, where a new army of monsters approaches. Their leader, Angelmois, rallies them to clear a path for their revenge. Jae-ik suggests they fight, but Hannah warns against judging by appearances. She explains they might be victims of the very justice they serve. The word justice resonates within Jae-ik, igniting a golden light in his chest. He transforms, a scorching fire urging him to punish the approaching horde. Elsewhere, the Titan Angelmois rages at the Archangel Michael. She declares that absolute evil can never be redeemed, a very black and white worldview. The Titan roars back, promising to tear her apart for what she's done. She dodges his massive hand, a blur of light and fury. A powerful slash of her sword cuts deep into his arm. She tells him to accept his fate. He was always meant to lose. Meanwhile, Lucifer faces the massive, newly freed dragon. He tries to reason with it, asking why he's the only target. The dragon's only answer is a chest glowing with fiery rage. It unleashes a massive torrent of destructive dragon breath. Lucifer dodges, complaining the beast is just trying to steal his XP. Back on the ground, Angelmois urges his followers to remember their pain. He tells them to unleash their rage and hold nothing back. But the archdevil is already winded, clearly out of practice. As he pants, he senses a strange presence nearby. He feels a shadow following him, closing in fast. It's Brinkiel, the fallen angel, dashing into the fray. He launches a sweeping kick at the massive demon's leg, but he's stunned to see the creature dodged his attack. Angelmois mocks the cheap trick, completely unimpressed. He demands to know why the angel is following him. Brinkiel sprouts his wings, explaining he has duties to attend to. He draws his revolver, claiming his conscience won't let sinners run free. With a sinister grin, he opens fire on the archdevil. The archdevil argues he's no sinner and has no quarrel with the angel. But Brinkiel keeps his aim steady, citing his angelic duty to stop escapees. Angelmois points out the hypocrisy, since they both just broke out of hell. Brinkiel just smirks, confidently reloading his revolver. His eye glows as he explains the fundamental difference between them. He unleashes a barrage of bullets, a lecture on celestial karma. The archdevil roars, refusing to be sent back to his prison. Elsewhere, Jae-ik dashes forward, crackling with righteous energy. He lands a devastating punch on one of the rock-like monsters. The impact sends the creature flying backward in a flash of light. The shockwave from his attack scatters the smaller demons. Another monster crumbles to dust under the force of his blow. Hina desperately calls out for him to stop his rampage. She explains this rage is just a side effect of the spearhead in his chest. Shrouded in shadow, Jae-ik admits he can't control the urge to crush evil. Hina panics, realizing he's caught the dreaded Michael virus. He stands before the horde, vowing to annihilate all forces of evil. A massive explosion of golden light erupts from his body. He clutches his chest, feeling a strange sense of relief. He cannot hold it back. He explains a voice in his chest is telling him to practice justice. A very specific voice. Hina realizes that's where the spear hit, and they have to get it out. Meanwhile, Lucifer is on the run from the massive dragon. He tries to reason with the beast, insisting they can talk it out. He argues it's unfair for a cosmic being to attack a freelance devil. He complains that the dragon's breath was completely uncalled for. The dragon sees right through him, knowing he's hiding his true power. Lucifer begins a long, rambling excuse about his diminished strength. The dragon cuts him off, ready to end his existence right now. Suddenly, Jae-ik rockets past, a blur of golden, righteous fury. He slams into the dragon's side as Lucifer watches in disbelief. He declares that as justice dictates, he will condemn all absolute evils. His fist glows with a brilliant golden light. He unleashes a furious barrage of punches on a very confused Lucifer. Lucifer's form dissipates, questioning this sudden betrayal of their friendship. Jae-ik's eyes glow, vowing that annihilation is the only future for evildoers. Lucifer sighs, noting the Michael virus is strong in this one. Jae-ik grabs his arm, but Lucifer warns that even touching his knuckle could be fatal. Suddenly, Scarple swoops in, rescuing his idol from the danger. Fanboy goals achieved. The massive dragon roars, furious that Jae-ik has turned his back on it. Jae-ik turns, his gaze now fixed on the much larger threat. Elsewhere, Michael charges the Titan, declaring he's ignored too many warnings. Angelmos catches her blade, ready to face his judgment. She lands a powerful slash across the Titan's massive arm. The blade cuts deep, but the wound is just a minor inconvenience. Another slash connects, this time with the Titan's leg. She taunts him, explaining she was merely showing mercy before. The Titan roars that she can cut his limbs, but she'll never stop him. But Michael knows his secret. His severed limbs grow back. A dark spot appears where his arm was cut. A new, smaller hand begins to sprout from the wound. She knows a full recovery takes time, and she plans to exploit it. With a determined look, she charges in to press her advantage. A powerful blow lands squarely on the Titan's head. His newly formed hand shatters into pieces from the impact. The massive Titan crumbles to the ground, finally defeated. With one threat down, Michael turns her attention to the dragon. But she's stunned to see Jae-ik already confronting the massive beast. Our boy admits he should have thought before acting, blaming his inner Bluetooth speaker. He decides he must be his own judge of good and evil. Engulfed in a golden flame, he wonders what he is truly becoming. Hina rushes forward, screaming Jae-ik's name in terror. But Michael stops her, impressed by his rapid activation. She lectures Hina, warning her not to overstep her bounds as a guardian. Engulfed in flames, Jae-ik declares his reawakening has begun. The dragon is stunned, realizing the boy is completely unharmed by its fire. Jae-ik's eyes glow with a cold, newfound resolve. He will not do anything that goes against his own will. With a single chop, he brings his full power down on the massive beast. The impact slams the dragon into the ground, shaking the very earth. He declares he doesn't need this borrowed justice and rips the spearhead from his chest. He holds the glowing weapon, ready to return it to its owner. He throws it back as Michael watches, stunned he could reject her power. She catches it, admitting he's truly over the top. The spear transfers his thoughts, confirming his theory about its Bluetooth capabilities. Yes, really. Her eyes flash with recognition. She knows he is Seraphim's son. She reveals that when he absorbed her justice, some prisoners were freed from hell. In a flashback, she recalls Seraphim being stripped of her archangel status. A question hangs in the air. How close were these two archangels? Michael explains that once marked by justice, no one is spared. His mother's pregnancy, she reveals, was filled with unimaginable hardship. The other angels scorned her, calling her a disgrace to their realm. But Seraphim stood firm, declaring she never regretted her choice. Michael then asks about his father, Baal, the one who abandoned them. Seraphim's eyes burn with rage. She hired Michael to hunt him down. She vows to make the archdevil pay, a promise that even scares Michael. Back in the present, Michael explains the council allowed the birth to happen. The birth of a potential over-the-top being was a matter of great debate. But once Jae-ik was born, his mother was sentenced to the pits of hell. Her punishment for a forbidden love was an eternity of suffering. Michael admits she found it unfair, but couldn't risk breaking the system. Jae-ik explains he understands her burden, having felt it himself. He makes a strange analogy, which Michael doesn't quite get. She continues, explaining the council cast him out as a baby. But Jae-ik insists he was never abandoned, thanks to his foster parents. He declares his birth parents mean nothing to him. But as he speaks, a sudden urgent thought strikes him. He panics, realizing he has somewhere very important to be. His top priority, it turns out, is not missing school. Priorities, I guess. He sprints off, screaming about penalty points for being absent. Michael calls out, vowing to stick close to him for her ambush. Jae-ik realizes this means she's about to become his new classmate. The next day, a new student introduces herself to the class, Misha. Jae-ik groans, his bad feelings confirmed yet again. She points to an empty seat in the back of the room. Hana warns her it's Scarpel's seat, but Misha isn't concerned. Elsewhere, two figures land on a remote snow-covered mountain. Lucifer explains, this is a place where Michael cannot find them. Scarpel continues his fanboy routine, shivering in the cold. But his devotion begins to waver as he questions his idol. He wonders if Lucifer has lost his power and glory. Lucifer smirks, sensing the demon's doubt. With a simple gesture, he prepares to make a point. A massive explosion of hellfire erupts across the mountain. The blast melts the snow, a casual display of immense power. Lucifer explains his true power is currently restrained, or in pawn. He can only reclaim it by offering something of equal value. His plan is to offer Jae-ik to this pawnbroker to get his own strength back. Scarpel is instantly reconverted, his faith in evil restored. His skepticism vanishes, his fanboy devotion now stronger than ever. Lucifer reveals the final piece. The pawnbroker is Jae-ik's own father, Baal. The school day begins with the teacher's cheerful morning address. Misha is stunned by his faith, while Jae-ik remains unimpressed. The teacher scans the room, noticing that Scarpel's seat is empty. A cloud of dark energy materializes at the desk, announcing his presence. Scarpel reassembles, claiming he just wanted to make new friends. The teacher is not amused. In a flashback, Lucifer hands Scarpel a charm for his new mission. Scarpel is overjoyed, feeling like the luckiest fan in the world. Lucifer explains he must act as a proxy while Michael is watching. The demon accepts, promising to deliver his own brand of justice. Back in the present, Scarpel's eyes narrow with a newfound purpose. He sees this as a quest to prove his unwavering loyalty to his idol. The teacher then realizes another student is missing, Brinkiel. The class turns, annoyed by yet another interruption. Brinkiel bursts in, apologizing for being late and blaming his bad memory. He asks if he's been marked absent, as the teacher makes a terrible pun. Misha looks up, a flicker of recognition in her eyes. Hina notes he missed his chance, but he mutters his catchphrase anyway. He waves to the class, his demeanor strangely cheerful and friendly. Scarpel checks his watch, seeing the needle is still in the red. He realizes the real Brinkiel is still in hell, so who is this imposter? The scene shifts to hell, where the real Brinkiel hangs from a cliff. A fiery demon holds him, asking who truly deserves to be imprisoned. Brinkiel declares that in this lawless place, he will be the judge. He opens fire, sending a blast of holy energy at the demon below. The demon roars, engulfed in flames, but refusing to let go. Shadowy tendrils erupt, vowing to drag the angel down with him. Brinkiel is caught in the grip, accused of being a sinner himself. He dodges the attacks, explaining that punishment isn't always fair. He unloads his revolver, declaring that evil must be punished more severely. The demon is consumed by fire, screaming that this is completely unfair. Brinkiel declares that in this world, fairness has never been an option. The scene shifts to the pristine, sunlit halls of the heavenly court. A voice from the heavens declares that Brinkiel has failed his mission. The council is furious, reminding someone that they vouched for him. This is Iriel, Brinkiel's brother, who now faces their divine wrath. He's reminded that every plan needs a scapegoat, and he's it. But Iriel argues it's far too early to call the mission a failure. He claims his grand plan is still in its very early stages, a bold excuse indeed. But the council fears Jae-ik could awaken and side with the devils. He asks what they expect him to do about it now. Their command is simple: bring the boy to heaven at all costs. He questions if simply bringing him here will be enough to solve this. The council assures him they will handle the rest once he arrives. With a confident smile, Iriel accepts his new critical mission. He's certain no one on Earth will ever see through his disguise. Back in the classroom, the imposter is revealed to be Iriel himself. A nearby student glances back, sensing something is off. He leans in with a friendly smile, asking if there's a problem. He introduces himself as Brinkiel, completing his perfect disguise. The student can only stare, her instincts screaming that he's lying. The teacher interrupts, announcing an upcoming group presentation. Jae-ik is stunned to learn it's worth half their final grade. Hina sees it as a perfect opportunity for those who struggle with tests. A very backhanded compliment. The celestial beings, however, are completely baffled by the concept. The teacher groups all the weird-looking new kids together. Misha and Iriel immediately assume this is some kind of team battle. The teacher then turns his attention to the remaining students. He declares that Scarple will be the leader of a new group. Scarple protests, wanting to stay with his original weird-looking bunch. But the teacher's cold gaze makes it clear this is not a negotiation. The two archangels are insulted, forced to compete against a low-class devil. Scarple protests the team change as his new partner demands to be called by his name. The teacher introduces his new teammates, Yangtai and Yunji. The girl looks on, her expression quiet and unreadable. With the teams decided, the teacher finally reveals their presentation topic. Elsewhere, in the fiery depths of hell, a familiar name is called out. The demon pushing it turns, recognizing the voice of his visitor. A lone figure steps forward, his arrival echoing through the cavern. He drags a massive demonic skull behind him as a calling card. It's the real Brinkil, here to make a deal and seek an indulgence.